This is a compilation of every piece of Fallout technology explained in just 3 hours. Let me know if I missed anything. These are the 7 levels of Fallout weapons. Level 1. Scavenged weapons. The Alien Blaster is the crown jewel of Fallout 1's uniques. This energy pistol shows up in a random UFO crash encounter, and finding it requires pure luck, since special encounters trigger based on your luck stat and how much you explore. The weapon itself deals absurd energy damage, way beyond anything else you can find at that point in the game. The catch is the ammo. You get a limited supply of alien power cells, and there's no way to get more. Every shot matters. You're not spraying this thing at radroaches. You're saving it for Deathclaws, super mutants, and the Master himself. The Alien Blaster represents everything unique weapons should be. Rare, powerful, and earned through exploration rather than handed to you on a silver platter. The 223 pistol is another powerhouse, and it comes from Zack in the Gunrunner's Fortress in the Boneyard. It's technically a pistol, but it hits harder than most rifles in the game. The damage output is insane for a sidearm, and it uses .223 ammunition, which is relatively common compared to alien cells. This makes it way more practical than the Alien Blaster for everyday use. The 223 pistol proves that unique weapons don't have to be game-breaking to be special. Sometimes being consistently excellent is better than being occasionally god-tier. Players loved this gun because it rewarded them for engaging with NPCs and doing side content instead of just murdering everything that moved. The Turbo Plasma Rifle takes a different approach. Instead of finding it or getting it as a quest reward, you create it. Smitty and Aditum can upgrade any plasma rifle you own into the Turbo version if you help them fix the hydroponic farms. The upgrade reduces the action points you need to fire, which in a turn-based game is absolutely massive. Fewer action points per shot means more shots per turn, which means more dead enemies before they get to act. The Turbo Plasma Rifle isn't about raw damage. It's about efficiency and action economy. It turns energy weapon, builds from good to dominant, and it shows that unique weapons can come from crafting and NPC services, not just looting corpses. The Red Ryder LE BB gun is pure Fallout humor. It's a BB gun, which sounds pathetic, but this limited edition version actually does decent damage for a joke weapon. The stock is stamped with Bob's Pre-Owned Car Mart, a reference to a car dealership, and it's hidden in a special encounter just like the Alien Blaster. Finding it requires exploration and luck, and while it's not going to carry you through the endgame, it's a fun novelty that proves Fallout never took itself too seriously. The Red Ryder also started a tradition. Almost every Fallout game since has included some kind of joke weapon or pop culture reference hidden in the world, and it all traces back to this goofy BB gun. The 9mm Mauser rounds out the 5. It's the weakest of the uniques, but it's still better than the standard 9mm pistol you start with. You can buy it or find it in certain locations, and while it's not as exciting as the Alien Blaster or 223 pistol, it fills a role. Early game players who invest in small guns can grab the Mauser and have a reliable sidearm that won't drain rare ammo. Not every unique weapon needs to be legendary. Sometimes being a solid, accessible upgrade is enough. The Mauser taught the series that unique weapons should exist at multiple power levels, giving players at different stages of the game something special to chase. Level 2. Weird weapons. The Holy Hand Grenade is the perfect example. This thing deals 300 to 500 explosion damage, enough to vaporize anything short of a tank, and it's a direct rip from Monty Python's Holy Grail. The lore says you have to count to 3 before throwing it, which is pulled straight from the movie. Finding it requires triggering a special encounter, and when you finally chuck it at a group of Enclave soldiers and watch them explode into pink mist, you feel like the devs personally high-fived you. The Holy Hand Grenade isn't just a weapon, it's a joke, a reference, and a nuclear bomb all in one package. It proves that unique weapons can be funny and functional at the same time. Little Jesus is the opposite vibe. This combat knife is hidden in New Reno's criminal underworld, and it outperforms every other non-powered blade in the game. The name itself is darkly comedic, a play on religious imagery in a city drowning in vice and violence. Getting it requires navigating New Reno's gang politics, which means making choices and picking sides. The knife rewards players who dive deep into the faction content instead of just mainlining the critical path. It's sharp, it's deadly, and it's tied to one of the game's most memorable locations. Little Jesus shows that unique weapons can be rewards for understanding the world and the people in it. The Louisville Slugger brings that post-apocalyptic sports nostalgia. It's a heavy baseball bat named after the real Louisville Slugger Company, and it hits like a truck. You can find it in New Reno, continuing the trend of that city being a treasure trove for unique gear. The bat itself is simple, no special effects, no gimmicks. It just does more damage than a regular bat and looks cooler. Sometimes that's all you need. The Louisville Slugger proves that not every unique weapon needs to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes being a really good version of a basic weapon is enough to make it memorable. The Solar Scorcher is where Fallout 2 gets sci-fi weird. This energy pistol recharges itself using sunlight, meaning you never run out of ammo as long as it's daytime. You find it in Vault 13 during a special encounter, and it's one of the most practical, unique weapons in the game. Infinite ammo on an energy weapon means you can spam shots without worrying about resource management. The Solar Scorcher turns energy weapon builds from ammo-dependent to self-sufficient, and it rewards players who explore off the beaten path. It's powerful, it's unique, and it's tied to Vault 13, which carries emotional weight if you played the first game. The improved flamer comes from Algernon, a genius mechanic in New Reno, who can upgrade your flamethrower if you help him out. This is another crafted unique, similar to the Turbo Plasma Rifle from Fallout 1. The upgrade increases damage and changes the fire mechanics, making it more effective at burning groups of enemies. Flamethrowers in Fallout 2 are already strong, but the improved flamer takes it to another level. It's a reward for talking to NPCs, doing side quests, and investing in relationships. Algernon won't help you unless you earn his trust, and that makes the weapon feel like a real achievement. Johnny's BB gun is another joke weapon, a Red Ryder variant tied to a side quest about a missing kid. You rescue Johnny from slavers, and he gives you his prized BB gun as thanks. It's not powerful, but it's sentimental. The quest itself is emotional, dealing with kidnapping and slavery, and the BB gun becomes a symbol of innocence in a brutal world. Fallout 2 uses this weapon to remind you that not everything in the wasteland is about power. Sometimes a weapon is just a memento, a reminder of a life you saved and a kid you helped. The plated boxing gloves round out the 7. These gloves add metal plates to your fists, turning you into a prize fighter. You find them in the Shark Club, a boxing ring in New Reno, and they're perfect for unarmed builds. The gloves do solid damage, and they fit the theme of New Reno's underground fighting scene. They're not flashy, they're not references, but they're functional and thematic. The plated boxing gloves show that unique weapons should fit the locations they're found in. A boxing ring should have special gloves. It just makes sense. So we've established two philosophies. Fallout 1 said unique weapons are rare treasures. Fallout 2 said they're jokes and references. But the next game would reject both approaches and ask a controversial question. What if unique weapons don't need stories at all? What if they just need to be good at killing? Fallout Tactics was about to find out if that was enough. Level 3. Battle Weapons. The Vindicator minigun is the poster child for Tactics heavy weapons. This beast has an insane rate of fire and massive ammo capacity, turning whoever equips it into a walking death machine. You find it late in the game during Brotherhood missions, and once you get it, suppressing fire becomes your new best friend. The Vindicator chews through ammunition like crazy, but the damage output justifies the expense. In Tactics, where you're controlling multiple squad members and positioning matters, having one person lay down covering fire with the Vindicator while others flank is a legitimate strategy. This weapon defined how players approached late-game missions. The Pancor Jackhammer is based on a real prototype shotgun, and in Tactics, it's an automatic combat shotgun that absolutely shreds at close range. The weapon fires in bursts, and each burst can drop multiple enemies if they're grouped together. You find it during specific missions, and it immediately becomes the go-to weapon for close-quarters specialists. The Jackhammer works perfectly with Tactics breach and clear gameplay. You stack your squad at a door, kick it open, and the guy with the Jackhammer clears the room before anyone can react. It's brutal, it's efficient, and it feels incredible when you execute it perfectly. The Bren gun shows up as a rare heavy weapon, a British light machine gun that somehow survived the apocalypse and made its way to the Midwest. It does solid sustained damage, and has good accuracy for a fully automatic weapon. The Bren gun fills a niche between assault rifles and miniguns, giving you automatic fire without burning through your entire ammo supply in 10 seconds. You usually find it on high-level enemies or as mission rewards, and getting one means your squad just leveled up. The Bren turns suppression from a nice bonus into a core strategy. The M249 SAW is another late-game find, a squad automatic weapon that balances damage and fire rate better than most other automatics. In Tactics, where ammo management matters because you're equipping an entire squad, the SAW is efficient enough to use regularly without going broke. You find it during Brotherhood supply runs or looted from tough enemies, and it immediately goes to your best shooter. The SAW is reliable, accurate, and powerful enough to handle most threats without requiring rare ammunition types. What makes Tactics interesting is how it treated weapons differently than mainline Fallout games. There are no quest-tied guns with emotional backstories. Instead, weapons are tools for squad tactics. The Vindicator isn't special because of who owned it. It's special because it changes how your squad fights. The Pancor Jackhammer isn't memorable because of lore. It's memorable because kicking down doors and clearing rooms with it feels amazing. Tactics proved that unique weapons don't always need stories. Sometimes being really good at a specific job is enough. But here's the problem. Without stories, these weapons became forgettable. Players remembered Maria from New Vegas. They remembered the alien blaster from Fallout 1. Nobody tells campfire stories about the Vindicator minigun. Tactics proved you could make unique weapons work without narrative, but it also proved you shouldn't, and Bethesda was watching. When Bethesda took over, they had a choice: follow Interplay's story-driven approach or Tactics' combat-focused design. They chose both, then cranked everything to 11. Level 4. Wasteland weapons. Fisto is a power fist you find in a derelict power plant, and it hits like a freight train. The name is ridiculous. The design is brutal, and finding it requires exploring a location most players would skip. It does massive damage. It looks like an industrial gauntlet ripped from a pre-war factory, and it turns unarmed builds into killing machines. Fisto proves that unique weapons don't need quests or NPCs to be special. Sometimes just hiding something powerful in a forgotten corner of the map is enough. The reward is finding it in the first place. The Board of Education is a nail-covered plank that screams improvised brutality. You find it in a school, which is darkly appropriate, and it does more damage than a regular board while also looking way cooler. The nails sticking out of it add visual flair and implied lethality. Someone in the wasteland took a piece of wood, hammered nails into it, and turned it into a weapon. That's peak Fallout. The Board of Education is unique, but it fits the world perfectly. It's the kind of thing you'd actually expect to find in a post-apocalyptic school. Lincoln's repeater sits in the Museum of History, and it's one of the most beloved unique weapons in Fallout 3. This lever-action rifle feels like something out of a cowboy movie, but it hits hard enough to drop super mutants in a few shots. It uses .44 Magnum ammo, which is relatively common, and it has solid accuracy and damage. The location ties into the game's lore about preserving pre-war history, and finding it feels like uncovering a piece of America's past. Lincoln's repeater is powerful, thematic, and iconic. It's everything a unique weapon should be. Blackhawk is a scoped .44 Magnum you get from Agatha after completing her radio quest. The quest itself is wholesome, helping an old woman get her family's violin, and the reward is this beast of a sidearm. The scope gives you better accuracy at range, and the damage is excellent for a pistol. Blackhawk becomes the go-to sidearm for players who want precision and style. It's not the strongest weapon in the game, but it's reliable, it's cool, and it's tied to one of the game's more memorable side quests. Agatha's quest proves that unique weapons feel better when you earn them through stories, not just looting. The experimental Marvi is where Fallout 3 gets absolutely insane. This is a fat man that shoots 8 mini nukes at once instead of 1. You find it in the National Guard depot after completing a side quest, and the first time you fire it, you understand why it's called experimental. The screen fills with nuclear explosions, everything dies. And there's a good chance you die too because the blast radius is enormous. The Mervy is impractical, hilarious, and unforgettable. Fallout 3 was throwing everything at the wall: more weapons, more locations, more chaos. But quantity created a new problem. How do you make unique weapons feel special when there are dozens of them? The answer came from the DLCs, and it would set a dangerous precedent. It's a meme weapon that every player tries at least once, and it's a perfect example of Fallout 3's philosophy. More is better, even if it kills you. Jingwei's shock sword comes from the Operation Anchorage DLC, and it's an electrified blade from a pre-war Chinese general. The sword stuns enemies on hit, which is incredibly useful against tough opponents. It does solid damage, it looks cool with electricity crackling along the blade, and it ties into the DLC's story about a military simulation. Jingwei's shock sword is one of the first DLC-exclusive uniques, setting a precedent that every expansion would add new weapons to chase. It's powerful, it's unique to the DLC, and it gives players a reason to engage with the extra content. The Pit DLC brought Steel Knuckles, a meaner version of Brass Knuckles. They do more damage, they look more brutal, and they're hidden in one of the game's darkest expansions. The Pit is about slavery and moral ambiguity, and finding upgraded Knuckles in that environment feels appropriate. Steel Knuckles aren't flashy, but they're functional and thematic. They fit the world they're found in, and that's what makes them work. Colonel Autumn's 10mm pistol drops during the main quest, specifically during the Waters of Life. This is the pistol carried by one of the game's main antagonists, and killing him or taking it off his body feels significant. The gun itself has better stats than a regular 10mm, and it's suppressed, making it perfect for stealth builds. Taking Autumn's weapon after he tries to kill you is satisfying in a way that finding a random unique in a locker isn't. The context matters. This is a trophy, proof that you survived and came out on top. Fox's super sledge is unique because it's a gift from your super mutant companion. Fox hands you his personal sledgehammer after you rescue him, and it's one of the best melee weapons in the game. It does massive damage, it has a unique skin, and it represents the bond you've built with one of the game's most memorable characters. This isn't loot. It's a gesture of friendship in a world where friendship is rare. Fox's Super Sledge matters because of who gave it to you and why. Fallout 3 proved Bethesda could make Fallout work in 3D, but could they make it work narratively? That question went to Obsidian, the studio made of original Fallout developers. They had 18 months to prove they could do better, and weapon design became their main argument. If Fallout 3 was a playground, New Vegas turned it into an armory with a thesis statement. Level 5. Mojave Legends. Maria is Benny's personal 9mm pistol, and it's engraved with the Virgin Mary. Benny shoots you in the head with this gun during the opening cinematic, and getting it back is one of the most satisfying moments in the game. You can kill Benny and loot it, or you can spare him and get it through other means. Either way, holding Maria feels like closure. This is the gun that started your journey, and now it's yours. The engravings, the name, the backstory, everything about Maria makes it iconic. It's not the strongest pistol in the game, but it doesn't need to be. The emotional weight is enough. Lucky is a .357 Magnum revolver that's hidden in a safe at the Bison Steve Hotel. Finding it requires lockpicking or getting a key, and the gun itself is beautiful. It has a higher critical hit chance than a regular revolver, and it's perfect for VATS-based crit builds. The name Lucky fits because this gun turns you into a gambling god. Every shot feels like it's rolling dice, and when you crit, you know you just hit the jackpot. Lucky is one of those weapons that feels good to use, and New Vegas is full of them. The Survivalist's Rifle comes from the Honest Hearts DLC, and it's tied to one of the saddest stories in the game. You find it in caves scattered across Zion Canyon, along with diary entries from a pre-war soldier who survived the bombs and lived alone in the wilderness for decades. By the time you find his rifle, he's long dead, and the weapon is all that's left of him. The rifle itself is excellent, basically a scope battle rifle with high damage and accuracy. But every time you use it, you think about the man who carried it before you. The Survivalist's Rifle isn't just a weapon, it's a memorial. Fist of Rar is crafted from a Deathclaw talon, specifically the talon of a legendary Deathclaw named Rar. You have to kill this monster in the Lonesome Road DLC, and it's one of the toughest fights in the game. Once you take the talon, you can craft it into a power fist that does absurd damage. The name Fist of Rar is silly, but the weapon itself is terrifying. You're literally punching people with a dinosaur's claw. It's brutal, it's effective, and it's a trophy that proves you beat one of the hardest bosses in New Vegas. Love and Hate are two power fists engraved with those exact words, and you find them in gang camps. The names are simple, the design is iconic, and they do solid damage for unarmed builds. Love and Hate represent the duality of violence in the wasteland. Sometimes you're fighting for love, to protect the people you care about. Other times you're fighting out of pure hate, because the world has wronged you and you want revenge. These weapons capture that philosophy in a way that's almost poetic. The Golden Gloves are gold-plated boxing gloves from Mr. House's Lucky 38, and they're exactly what they sound like. Flashy, expensive, and effective. You find them in House's penthouse, and they're a symbol of his wealth and power. Using the Golden Gloves feels like flexing on the wasteland. You're not just punching people, you're punching them with style, with class, with gold-plated knuckles that probably cost more than an entire settlement. The Golden Gloves are absurd, and that's why they're great. The All-American is a marksman carbine hidden in Vault 22, and it's one of the best semi-auto rifles in the game. It has solid damage, excellent accuracy, and it looks amazing. The name is a patriotic nod, and finding it requires navigating one of the creepiest vaults in New Vegas. Vault 22 is full of mutant plants and spore carriers, and the All-American is your reward for surviving the horror show. This weapon is beloved by the community because it's practical, powerful, and perfect for almost any build. Medicine Stick is a brush gun that combines hunting rifle stats with cowboy aesthetics. It does massive damage per shot, it looks like something out of a western, and it's perfect for players who want to roleplay as a wasteland cowboy. You buy it from the gun runners, which means you need caps, but the investment is worth it. Medicine Stick hits like a train, and every shot feels satisfying. Notice the pattern? Every weapon in New Vegas has context. Maria is revenge. The Survivalist's Rifle is grief. Medicine Stick is power fantasy. This wasn't accidental. Obsidian understood something Bethesda missed. Weapons don't matter because of their stats. They matter because of their stories. But Bethesda was about to push back hard with Fallout 4. The recoil, the sound, the damage numbers, everything about this gun screams power. That gun is a direct reference to Blade Runner, a 2-3 pistol that looks exactly like Deckard's sidearm. Fans of the movie lose their minds when they find this, and even people who don't get the reference love it because it's just a really good pistol. It uses 2-3 ammo, It has decent damage, and it's sold by a vendor in Novak. That gun is accessible, powerful, and iconic. It's one of those weapons that shows up in every New Vegas playthrough because it's just that good. The AER-14 prototype is a laser rifle hidden in Vault 22, the same vault as the All-American. This energy weapon outdamages its base version, and it's perfect for energy weapon builds. Finding it requires exploring one of the game's most dangerous locations, and the payoff is a rifle that melts enemies. The AER-14 prototype is simple. It's a better laser rifle. That's it. But sometimes simple is exactly what you need. The Tesla Beaten prototype is a Brotherhood Tesla cannon that zaps robots into scrap. You find it at the crashed Vertibird site near the Brotherhood bunker, and it's one of the best anti-robot weapons in the game. Robots are everywhere in New Vegas, from Securitrons to Sentry bots, and the Tesla Beaten turns them into junk. It's practical, it's faction-tied, and it rewards you for engaging with the Brotherhood story. Mercy is a unique grenade launcher found in Deadwind Cavern, looted from a dead Brotherhood of Steel Paladin, and it's perfect for explosive builds. It does high damage, it's relatively easy to get, and it turns you into a walking artillery platform. Mercy is straightforward. You point it at enemies, you pull the trigger, they explode. Sometimes that's all you need in a weapon. Thump Thump is another grenade launcher, but this one fires in a high arc, perfect for lobbing death over cover. You buy it from the Boomers, a faction obsessed with explosives, and it fits their theme perfectly. Thump Thump is fun to use because it changes how you approach combat. You're not shooting directly at enemies, you're calculating arcs, bouncing grenades around corners, and turning the battlefield into a minefield. Knock Knock is a fire axe with bonus crit damage, and you find it in the Searchlight Fire Station. The name is a joke. The weapon is deadly, and it's perfect for melee builds. Knock Knock does exactly what it says. You knock on death's door, and when it opens, you bury an axe in its face. Pushy is a displacer glove that knocks enemies back, and you find it in a cave. The knockback effect is hilarious and practical, turning tough enemies into ragdolls. Pushy is one of those weapons that feels good to use because the feedback is immediate and satisfying. You punch someone, they fly backward. You laugh. Simple, effective, and fun. The Q-35 Matter Modulator is a plasma rifle that sets things on fire, and you find it in the Repcon facility. It does solid damage, it has a unique effect, and it's tied to one of the game's most memorable locations. The Q-35 is powerful enough to carry you through the endgame, and it looks cool doing it. Paciencia is a hunting rifle that crits like crazy, and you buy it from the Gunrunners. The name means patience in Spanish, which is fitting because this rifle rewards careful, precise shots. Paciencia is a sniper's dream, turning headshots into instant kills and making long-range combat feel effortless. Fallout 4 faced an impossible task. New Vegas perfected story-driven unique weapons. How do you top perfection? Bethesda's answer was to radically change the system entirely. Instead of dozens of named uniques, they added hundreds of randomized legendaries. The fanbase is still fighting about whether this was genius or betrayal, but the named uniques that survived, they had to fight harder to matter. Level 6. Iconic weapons. Kellogg's pistol is the flagship unique weapon of Fallout 4. You get it during the Reunions quest after hunting down the man who killed your spouse and kidnapped your son. The Relentless effect refills your action points on critical hits, making it a VATS monster. Every crit gives you more AP, which lets you chain more crits, which gives you more AP. Kellogg's pistol turns VATS from a tactical option into a killing spree. And this is where Fallout 4's philosophy shows. Kellogg's pistol isn't just good, it's mechanically distinct, because now it has to compete with random legendary drops that could theoretically be stronger. Every name unique in Fallout 4 had to justify its existence against a slot machine of possibilities. The gun isn't just strong, it's emotionally charged. This is the weapon of the man who destroyed your family, and now it's yours. That weight makes every shot feel personal. Overseer's Guardian is a combat rifle sold at Vault 81, and it shoots 2 bullets per shot. This effect essentially doubles your damage output, making it one of the strongest rifles in the game. The catch is you have to find Vault 81 and do enough quests to earn access to the vendor. Once you buy it, though, the Commonwealth becomes a shooting gallery. Overseer's Guardian is practical, powerful, and accessible. It's the kind of weapon that defines a playthrough. The Deliverer is a 10mm pistol from the Railroad, silenced and perfect for stealth builds. You get it during the Tradecraft quest, and it becomes your best friend if you're playing sneaky. The Deliverer has a unique perk that reduces AP cost and VATS, letting you fire more shots per turn. Combined with a suppressor, it's the perfect assassination tool. You sneak, you shoot, enemies die, and nobody knows you were there. The Deliverer is efficient, quiet, and deadly. Spray and Pray is an explosive submachine gun sold by a wandering trader named Cricket. Every bullet explodes on impact, turning the SMG into a room-clearing nightmare. The explosions deal area damage, which means you can hurt yourself if you're too close, but the sheer destruction is worth the risk. Spray and Pray is chaos incarnate. You hold down the trigger, bullets spray everywhere, everything explodes, and when the smoke clears, you're the only thing left standing. Big Boy is a fat man that fires 2 mini nukes instead of 1. You buy it from a vendor in Diamond City, and the first time you fire it, you understand why it's called Big Boy. 2 mini nukes hit the target area, doubling the nuclear devastation. It's impractical, it's overkill, and it's absolutely hilarious. Big Boy is the kind of weapon you use when you want to send a message. That message is, everything dies. The Broadsider is a handheld naval cannon found on the USS Constitution, a ship stuck on top of a building because Fallout logic. You help robot sailors get their ship flying again, and they reward you with this absurd weapon. The Broadsider fires cannonballs, and while it's not the strongest heavy weapon, it's one of the coolest. The sound design, the visual effect, the sheer ridiculousness of carrying a naval cannon on your back, it all works. The Broadsider is style over substance, and that's fine. The Cryolator is locked in Vault 111, your starting vault, and you need to either max out lockpicking or bring Dogmeat back later to grab it. This weapon freezes enemies solid, letting you shatter them like ice sculptures. The Cryolator changes how you fight, because frozen enemies are helpless. You freeze them, you switch to a melee weapon, you shatter them. It's brutal, it's efficient, and it's incredibly satisfying. The Cryolator is one of those weapons that makes you feel powerful in a very specific way. The Alien Blaster Pistol returns yet again, this time as a random encounter weapon. You find a crashed UFO, follow a blood trail, and discover an alien corpse with the blaster nearby. It uses fusion cells now instead of alien ammo, which makes it way more practical. The damage is excellent, and it's still one of the coolest weapons in the game. The Alien Blaster is a Fallout tradition at this point, showing up in almost every game as a reward for exploring the weird corners of the map. Righteous Authority is a laser rifle from the Brotherhood that fills your critical meter faster on headshots. You get it during the Call to Arms quest, and it becomes a staple for energy weapon builds. The effect rewards accuracy, turning every headshot into progress toward your next guaranteed crit. Righteous Authority isn't the strongest laser rifle, but it's one of the most useful because it synergizes with VATS perks. Experiment 18A is a plasma rifle that fires faster than normal, hidden in a university lab. The faster fire rate means more damage per second, which is always good. You find it in the College Square station, and while it's easy to miss, it's worth hunting down if you're running an energy weapon build. Experiment 18A is simple. It's a better plasma rifle. That's the pitch. And then came the change I promised you at the start. Every Fallout game had one thing in common. You were alone in the wasteland. The unique weapons were yours. Nobody else had them. Fallout 76 asked a question that seemed impossible. How do you make one-of-a-kind weapons in a game with thousands of players? The answer would either save or destroy 20 years of tradition. Level 7. Appellation Rewards. An online multiplayer Fallout sounds like a nightmare on paper. How is a weapon unique if everyone can get it? Bethesda's solution was controversial. They made unique weapons into quest rewards everyone could earn, then flooded the game with randomized legendaries to create actual uniqueness. It was the opposite of Fallout 1's philosophy. Instead of one alien blaster in the world, there were thousands. But your legendary role might be the only one like it. Some players called it dilution. Others called it evolution. Instead of quest rewards from NPCs, most uniques came from events, seasonal content, and DLC updates. The game launched rough, but over time Bethesda added enough content to make chasing these weapons worthwhile. The format changed, but the idea stayed the same. Unique weapons were still rewards for engaging with content. Somerset Special is a 44 pistol that ignores 50% of enemy armor, handed out during a quest. Armor penetration is massive in Fallout 76, because enemies scale with your level, and cutting through half their armor means you're doing real damage. Somerset Special is practical, it's effective, and it's tied to the main storyline. You don't have to hunt for it. You earn it by progressing. Voice of Set is an energy pistol from the Mistress of Mystery storyline, dealing extra damage to robots. Fallout 76 has robots everywhere, from Protectrons to Assaultrons, and Voice of Set turns them into scrap. The Mistress of Mystery questline is one of the best in the game, and the weapon is a fitting reward. It's powerful, it's thematic, and it ties into pre-war lore about comic book heroes. All Rise is a super sledge you get from the mayor for a day quest, and it weighs 90% less than normal. Weight reduction is huge in Fallout 76 because carry capacity is always a problem, and a lightweight super sledge means you can carry more loot. All Rise does solid damage, it's easy to get, and it's perfect for melee builds that don't want to sacrifice inventory space. The Fixer is a combat rifle with stealth bonuses that became meta in PvP. You get the plan from encrypted events, and once you craft it, you become an invisible death machine. The Fixer has faster sneaking speed, better stealth detection, and solid damage. It's the go-to weapon for stealth builds in Fallout 76, and it dominated the meta for months after release. Bethesda eventually nerfed it, but it's still strong. Rose's Syringer and Vox Syringer are exotic syringe guns from the Expeditions update, firing custom chems that debuff enemies. The syringes apply status effects like slow, weaken, or poison, turning these weapons into utility tools rather than pure damage dealers. Rose's Syringer and Vox Syringer are niche, but they're fun for support builds or players who want to experiment with different playstyles. The pumpkin grenade shows up during Halloween, exploding with candy and shrapnel. It's a joke weapon, but it's also surprisingly effective. The explosion does decent damage, and the candy adds to the absurdity. The pumpkin grenade is pure Fallout humor, reminding you that even in a live service game, the series can still be goofy. Holy Fire is a cursed flamer introduced in the Locked and Loaded update. Cursed weapons deal high damage but break faster and have other debuffs. Holy Fire sets everything on fire, does absurd damage, but it also falls apart quickly. The trade-off is interesting. You get massive power, but you pay for it with durability. Holy Fire is high risk, high reward, and it's perfect for players who want to live dangerously. The Pyrolyzer is an energy rifle from the Tracking Unknowns quest, setting things on fire with every shot. The fire damage stacks, turning tough enemies into walking bonfires. The Pyrolyzer is solid for DPS builds, and it's tied to one of the more interesting questlines in Fallout 76. Elder's Mark is a cursed SMG that shreds enemies but drains your health. The damage is excellent, but the health drain means you're constantly chugging Stimpaks. Elder's Mark is another high-risk weapon, and it's perfect for aggressive builds that want to trade health for kills. Blade of Bastet comes from the Mistress of Mystery questline, a melee weapon tied to pre-war comic lore. It does solid damage, it looks cool, and it's part of a full armor set. Blade of Bastet is thematic, it's functional, and it rewards players who complete one of the game's best side stories. So here's what changed forever. Fallout 1 through New Vegas said, unique weapons are rare artifacts you discover. Fallout 4 said, unique weapons compete with random chance. Fallout 76 said, unique weapons are templates, and the legendary system creates the real prizes. Laser Pistol. This is where most players start their journey into energy weapons, and honestly, it's a pretty solid introduction to the concept of shooting light beams at people. The laser pistol uses microfusion cells to fire coherent light that provides pinpoint accuracy, instant hit registration, and a satisfying chance to blow limbs off through critical hits. It's been a staple across Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, and 76, serving as an early to mid-game precision sidearm that benefits massively from critical hit builds. The weapon represents mass-produced pre-war defense technology that remained common post-war thanks to military caches and institute manufacturing. What makes the laser pistol special is its reliability. While it might not have the raw damage of other energy weapons, it hits what you aim at and does consistent damage without the weird projectile physics of plasma weapons. But if you thought a laser sidearm was useful, the rifle version turns precision into a primary weapon. Laser Rifle. This is the bread-and-butter energy weapon that most players adopt as their first serious long-range energy solution. The Laser Rifle offers solid damage, excellent accuracy, and incredible modification potential in later games, making it the energy weapon equivalent of a reliable assault rifle. It appears prominently in Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, and 76, with Institute variants in Fallout 4 providing even more customization options. The weapon shines with proper perks and modifications, transforming from a decent early-game option into an endgame powerhouse when properly configured. Upgraded receivers and automatic conversions can completely change the weapon's role from precision marksman tool to sustained damage dealer. If you thought standard laser technology was effective, the next weapon splits the difference for maximum impact. Tri-Beam Laser Rifle. This modified laser rifle splits its beam into 3 separate projectiles, trading ammunition efficiency for devastating burst damage. The Tri-Beam appears in Fallout 3 and New Vegas as a heavy-hitting variant that excels against armored targets when you absolutely need something dead right now. The weapon is more ammo-hungry than standard laser rifles, but the triple beam effect makes it incredibly effective when every shot needs to count. With proper perk synergy, the Tri-Beam becomes a monster for taking down tough enemies that would shrug off single-beam weapons. The design represents pre-war military thinking about maximizing damage output through beam multiplication rather than just increasing power. The Tri-Beam Laser Rifle proves that 3 beams of death are definitely better than 1, but the next weapon takes the rapid-fire approach to laser combat. Laser RCW. This submachine gun-style energy weapon brings high rate of fire and sustained damage to the laser weapon family. The RCW appears in Fallout New Vegas as the energy weapon answer to bullet hose SMGs, trading accuracy and per-shot efficiency for suppression and close to mid-range damage output. The weapon fills the niche of an automatic laser weapon that can lay down serious sustained fire when properly configured. While it lacks the precision of laser rifles, the RCW excels in situations where you need to put a lot of energy downrange quickly. The design shows how pre-war manufacturers adapted laser technology for different combat roles beyond precision shooting. If you thought production laser weapons were good, The next weapon represents the cutting edge of pre-war research, AER-14 prototype. This experimental laser rifle showcases what pre-war research and development could achieve when freed from production constraints. The AER-14 appears in Fallout New Vegas as a unique weapon with superior damage and critical hit performance compared to standard laser rifles. The prototype represents the kind of advanced technology that never made it to mass production before the bombs fell, making it a coveted piece of pre-war engineering. The weapon typically features better damage output and critical hit potential than base laser rifles, making it a fan-favorite unique find. Finding the AER-14 feels like discovering a piece of lost technology that shows what laser weapons could have become. But the next weapon takes unique laser technology to absolutely ridiculous extremes. Pew Pew! This tiny laser pistol delivers absolutely devastating damage despite its silly name and diminutive size. Pew Pew appears in Fallout New Vegas as a reward for the Sunset Sarsaparilla Star Bottle Cap Collection quest, featuring extreme burst damage balanced by unusual ammunition requirements. The weapon uses energy cells instead of microfusion cells, and delivers damage output that can rival much larger weapons. What makes Pew Pew special is its incredible damage-to-size ratio. This little pistol can delete enemies that would take multiple shots from conventional weapons. The weapon represents the pinnacle of miniaturized laser technology, proving that good things really do come in small packages. If you thought handheld lasers were impressive, the next weapon brings orbital death from space. Euclid's C-Finder. This targeting designator calls down an orbital laser strike that can obliterate almost anything in the game. Euclid's C-Finder appears in Fallout New Vegas as a unique quest weapon that represents the ultimate expression of pre-war space-based weapons technology. The weapon requires the Helios 1 power plant to be properly configured, making it dependent on completing specific quest objectives. When functional, the C-Finder delivers a spectacular orbital laser blast that can eliminate nearly any enemy in the game with a single shot. The weapon demonstrates how pre-war America had developed space-based weapons platforms that survived the nuclear war and remained operational centuries later. But pre-war technology wasn't the only source of advanced laser weapons. Institute laser weapons. These sleek white energy weapons represent the Institute's refined approach to pre-war laser technology. Institute laser weapons appear throughout Fallout 4 as the standard armament for Generation 3 synths, featuring modular design and superior manufacturing quality. The weapons emphasize the Institute's technological superiority and their ability to mass-produce advanced energy weapons in the post-war world. What makes Institute lasers special is their clean, scientific aesthetic and their extensive modification options that allow for incredible customization. The weapons prove that the Institute didn't just preserve pre-war technology, they improved upon it and made it better than the original designs. If you thought high-tech lasers were impressive, the next weapon takes a deliberately primitive approach. Laser musket. This Minutemen's signature weapon combines laser technology with revolutionary war aesthetics, requiring manual cranking to charge each shot. The laser musket appears in Fallout 4 as a symbol of post-war American ingenuity and resourcefulness, allowing multiple cranks to store additional energy for more powerful shots. The weapon evokes the spirit of colonial America while using advanced energy technology, making it perfect for the Minutemen's patriotic aesthetic. Each crank adds another stored discharge, allowing patient marksmen to build up devastating single shots. The laser musket represents how post-war survivors adapted advanced technology to their own cultural values and manufacturing capabilities. But laser technology reached its peak with crystalline enhancement. Ultrasight laser weapons. These Brotherhood of Steel energy weapons use ultrasight crystals to enhance laser technology beyond normal parameters. Ultrasight laser variants appear in Fallout 76 as endgame weapons that represent the pinnacle of post-war laser technology development. The weapons tie into Appalachia's unique crystalline resources and the Brotherhood's ability to adapt pre-war technology using post-war materials. What makes ultrasight lasers special is their superior damage output and their connection to Fallout 76's endgame crafting systems. The weapons show how the Brotherhood of Steel continues to push energy weapon technology forward using materials that didn't exist before the war. If you thought upgraded laser technology was powerful, the next weapon brings sustained laser fire to heavy weapons. Gatling laser. This energy minigun delivers continuous laser fire, powered by fusion cores, making it the ultimate sustained laser damage platform. The Gatling laser appears across multiple Fallout games as a heavy weapon designed for power armor users who need to put massive amounts of laser energy downrange. The weapon represents the logical endpoint of laser technology. Instead of single precise shots, It delivers a continuous stream of laser fire that can melt through even the toughest enemies. With proper perks and fusion core management, the Gatling laser becomes one of the most devastating weapons in the game. The design shows how pre-war military engineers adapted minigun principles to energy weapons. But if you thought laser weapons were impressive, plasma technology takes energy combat to the next level. Plasma pistol. This sidearm fires superheated ionized gas packets that deliver devastating damage with a distinctive green glow. The plasma pistol appears across Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, and 76 as a harder-hitting alternative to laser weapons, trading projectile speed for raw damage output. The weapon uses plasma cartridges to create contained balls of superheated gas that explode on impact, making it devastating against both armor and flesh. What makes plasma weapons special is their slower projectile speed that requires prediction and timing, making them perfect for VATS builds. The technology represents advanced pre-war research into weaponizing the fourth state of matter. If you thought plasma sidearms were powerful, the rifle version becomes a true endgame weapon. Plasma rifle. This workhorse energy weapon delivers exceptional damage that scales beautifully into late-game content. The plasma rifle appears in Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, and 76 as one of the most powerful conventional energy weapons, featuring high base damage and excellent critical hit multipliers. The weapon can be configured for automatic fire, sniping, or close-range burst damage depending on modifications and attachments. What makes the plasma rifle special is its ability to remain relevant throughout the entire game, starting strong and getting stronger with proper perks and modifications. The weapon represents the pinnacle of man-portable plasma technology that pre-war military forces could field. But the next weapon takes plasma technology to heavy weapon extremes. Plasma Caster. This heavy plasma cannon delivers massive single-shot damage that can eliminate even the toughest enemies. The Plasma Caster appears in Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 76 as the ultimate expression of portable plasma weaponry, featuring devastating per-shot damage balanced by slow fire rates. The weapon requires high strength to use effectively and rewards careful aim with incredible damage output. What makes the Plasma Caster special is its ability to one-shot enemies that would require multiple hits from other weapons, making it perfect for boss encounters and elite targets. The design represents military-grade plasma technology pushed to its absolute limits. If you thought single-shot plasma was devastating, the next weapon spreads the destruction. Multi-Plas Rifle. This shotgun-style plasma weapon fires multiple plasma bolts in a spread pattern for devastating close-range damage. The Multi-Plas rifle appears in Fallout New Vegas as a unique approach to plasma weaponry that trades long-range precision for close-range destruction. The weapon fires several plasma projectiles simultaneously, making it incredibly effective when multiple bolts hit the same target. While it's ammo-hungry compared to single-shot plasma weapons, the Multi-Plas can erase enemies at close to medium range when properly positioned. The design shows how plasma technology could be adapted for different tactical situations beyond single-target engagement. But the next weapon represents the pinnacle of unique plasma technology. Q-35 Matter Modulator. This unique plasma rifle showcases advanced pre-war plasma research with superior performance characteristics. The Q-35 appears in Fallout New Vegas as a lore-rich prototype that demonstrates what plasma technology could achieve with unlimited research budgets. The weapon features notably improved stats compared to standard plasma rifles, making it one of the premier late-game energy weapons. What makes the Q-35 special is its connection to pre-war scientific research and its superior damage output that justifies the effort required to obtain it. The weapon represents the kind of experimental technology that never made it to mass production but survived as unique prototypes. If you thought experimental plasma weapons were powerful, heavy plasma technology scales to incredible levels. Gatling Plasma. This heavy weapon combines the sustained fire of Gatling guns with the devastating power of plasma technology. The Gatling Plasma appears in Fallout 76 as one of the most powerful heavy weapons in the game, capable of melting bosses and clearing events with proper configuration. The weapon uses plasma cores to deliver continuous plasma fire that combines the best aspects of both Gatling and plasma weapon families. With legendary effects and proper perks, the Gatling Plasma becomes one of the most sought-after weapons for endgame content. The design represents the ultimate fusion of sustained fire and plasma technology. But plasma technology also benefits from crystalline enhancement. Ultrasight Plasma Weapons. These enhanced plasma weapons use ultrasight crystals to push plasma damage to incredible levels. Ultrasight plasma variants appear in Fallout 76 as endgame weapons that sit at the top of Appalachia's crafting hierarchy. The weapons combine advanced plasma technology with unique post-war materials to create damage output that exceeds standard plasma weapons. What makes Ultrasight Plasma special is its connection to Fallout 76's endgame progression and its incredible effectiveness against the game's toughest opponents. The weapons show how post-war innovation can enhance even the most advanced pre-war technology. If you thought plasma weapons were advanced, electromagnetic technology takes a completely different approach. Gauss Rifle. This electromagnetic precision weapon fires projectiles at extreme velocities using magnetic coils instead of chemical propellants. The Gauss Rifle appears in Fallout 3, New Vegas, and later titles as the ultimate sniper weapon featuring massive single-shot damage that rewards careful aim and patience. The weapon often requires charging for maximum damage, creating risk-reward gameplay, where timing becomes crucial. What makes the Gauss Rifle special is its incredible alpha strike potential that can eliminate enemies in a single shot when properly configured. The technology represents late pre-war black projects that pushed electromagnetic weaponry to practical battlefield applications. But electromagnetic technology reached even greater heights with unique variants. YCS-186. This unique Gauss rifle variant delivers performance that exceeds even the standard Gauss rifle's incredible capabilities. The YCS-186 appears in Fallout New Vegas as a prestige energy weapon that anchors critical hit and sneak builds with one-shot potential against almost any enemy. The weapon represents the absolute pinnacle of electromagnetic weaponry that pre-war researchers could achieve. What makes the YCS-186 special is its combination of incredible damage, perfect accuracy, and the satisfaction of eliminating tough enemies with a single, well-placed shot. The weapon has become legendary among Fallout players for its ability to delete enemies that would require sustained fire from other weapons. If you thought electromagnetic weapons were specialized, the next category focuses on disabling technology itself. Pulse Gun. This EMP weapon devastates robots and power armor users while being relatively harmless to unarmored humans. The Pulse Gun appears in Fallout New Vegas as a unique sidearm that specializes in destroying mechanical enemies through electromagnetic pulse technology. The weapon can trivialize encounters with robots, turrets, and power armor users by disabling their systems entirely. What makes the Pulse Gun special is its incredible niche performance that turns challenging robotic encounters into easy cleanup operations. The technology represents pre-war counter-electronics warfare, adapted for battlefield use against the proliferation of automated defenses. But electromagnetic weapons reach their peak with Tesla technology. Tesla Cannon. This heavy weapon fires arcing electrical bolts that can chain between multiple targets for devastating area effects. The Tesla Cannon appears in Fallout 3's Broken Steel DLC and New Vegas as a massive anti-armor and anti-robot weapon that excels against clustered enemies. The weapon's splash and arc properties make it effective against groups, while its massive damage output can eliminate even the toughest single targets. What makes the Tesla Cannon special is its ability to handle both single tough enemies and groups through its electrical arc mechanics. The technology represents the weaponization of Tesla's electrical research for military applications. Tesla technology also produced unique experimental variants. Tesla Beaten Prototype. This unique Tesla weapon represents the intersection of exotic science and battlefield practicality. The Tesla Beaten Prototype appears in Fallout New Vegas as an improved version of Tesla technology that delivers enhanced performance over standard electrical weapons. The weapon serves as a trophy-tier energy-heavy weapon that demonstrates advanced pre-war electrical weapons research. What makes the prototype special is its superior output and its status as a rare example of pre-war experimental technology that actually worked better than production models. The weapon shows how unlimited research budgets could push electrical weaponry beyond practical limitations. Modern Tesla technology has evolved for different applications. Tesla Rifle. This chain lightning weapon excels at crowd control and event clearing through its ability to arc between multiple targets. The Tesla Rifle appears in Fallout 76 as a premier wave-clearing weapon that synergizes perfectly with automatic weapon perks and energy damage bonuses. The weapon's chaining electrical attacks make it incredibly effective for public events where multiple enemies cluster together. What makes the Tesla Rifle special is its crowd control capabilities that turn chaotic multi-enemy encounters into manageable situations. The weapon represents how Tesla technology evolved from heavy weapons into more practical battlefield applications. If you thought electrical weapons were specialized, radiation technology takes a completely different approach. Gamma Gun. This compact radiation emitter doses targets with lethal radiation instead of conventional damage. The Gamma Gun appears in Fallout 4 and 76 as a weapon that bypasses traditional armor by attacking through radiation exposure. The weapon is particularly thematic with the Children of Atom faction, and excels against unshielded organic enemies while struggling against robots and radiation-immune creatures. What makes the Gamma Gun special is its ability to ignore conventional defenses by attacking health pools directly through radiation damage. The technology represents post-war weaponization of nuclear science by groups that worship radiation itself. But the next weapon takes environmental effects in a completely different direction. Cryolator. This freeze weapon sprays crystallizing medium that slows or completely immobilizes enemies for easy finishing. The Cryolator appears in Fallout 4 and 76 as a backpack-fed projector that excels at crowd control and kiting dangerous melee enemies. The weapon trades raw damage output for incredible safety through its ability to freeze enemies solid. What makes the Cryolator special is its crowd control capabilities that can turn overwhelming enemy numbers into target practice. The technology represents Vault-Tec experimental research into non-lethal containment that found devastating battlefield applications. If you thought human technology was advanced, alien weapons operate on completely different principles. Alien Blaster. This compact extraterrestrial sidearm delivers devastating single-target damage with limited exotic ammunition. The Alien Blaster appears across multiple Fallout games as a trophy weapon with incredible damage output balanced by scarce ammunition supplies. The weapon often ranks as one of the strongest sidearms available when ammunition isn't a concern. What makes the Alien Blaster special is its otherworldly technology that exceeds anything human science achieved before the war. The weapon serves as proof that Earth has been visited by beings with technology far beyond human capabilities. The Alien Blaster shows that sometimes the best weapons come from other planets. Alien technology expanded significantly with additional discoveries. Mothership Zeta Arsenal. This collection of extraterrestrial weapons represents the full range of alien military technology. The Mothership Zeta DLC in Fallout 3 introduced weapons like the atomic pulverizer, drone cannon, and various disintegrator rifles that define late-game energy weapon dominance. These weapons feature devastating damage output and unique disintegration effects that completely vaporize enemies. What makes the Mothership Zeta Arsenal special is its demonstration of alien military capabilities that make human weapons look primitive by comparison. The technology shows that Earth's visitors possessed weapons that could easily conquer the planet if they chose to do so. If you thought exotic ammunition was limiting, the next weapon category solves that problem permanently. Recharger Pistol. This self-charging sidearm generates its own ammunition over time, providing unlimited shots with patience. The Recharger Pistol appears in Fallout New Vegas as a low-maintenance weapon that slowly replenishes its battery for sustainable combat. The weapon trades peak damage output for incredible reliability and ammunition independence. What makes Recharger weapons special is their sustainability for long expeditions and hardcore mode runs where ammunition economy becomes crucial. The technology represents pre-war research into self-sustaining small arms that never reached mass production. Recharger technology also applied to long arms. Recharger Rifle. This self-charging rifle provides sustainable medium-range energy fire for extended operations. The Recharger Rifle appears in Fallout New Vegas as the long-arm version of Recharger technology with similar infinite charge capabilities. The weapon serves as a reliable mid-game tool for wasteland survivalists who prioritize sustainability over peak performance. What makes the Recharger Rifle special is its ability to provide consistent firepower without ammunition concerns throughout extended adventures. The technology demonstrates how pre-war military research pursued self-sufficiency in small arms design, but Recharger technology reached its peak with enhanced variants. MF Hyperbreeder Alpha. This unique Recharger pistol features improved performance that elevates the Recharger concept to practical everyday use. The MF Hyperbreeder Alpha appears in Fallout New Vegas as an enhanced Recharger weapon that works exceptionally well with critical hit and VATS builds. The weapon combines the sustainability of Recharger technology with damage output that makes it viable for serious combat encounters. What makes the Hyperbreeder special is its ability to serve as a primary weapon rather than just a backup option for ammunition conservation. The technology shows what Recharger weapons could achieve with proper development resources. Modern energy weapon development has produced some unique hybrid designs. Salvaged Assaultron Head. This improvised weapon built from a robot's head delivers powerful charged blasts with radiation drawbacks for the user. The Salvaged Assaultron Head appears in Fallout 76 as a risk-reward weapon that can deliver devastating burst damage against tough enemies at the cost of irradiating the wielder. The weapon represents post-war ingenuity in repurposing robotic components for human use. What makes the Assaultron head special is its incredible damage potential balanced by the radiation risk that requires careful timing and rad management. The technology shows how wasteland survivors can weaponize pre-war robotics with creativity and desperation. The evolution of heavy energy weapons has reached new heights in modern applications. Modern Gatling weapons. The Gatling Plasma and Gatling Laser have evolved in Fallout 76 into premier boss-killing platforms that benefit from legendary effects and dedicated heavy weapon builds. These weapons represent the pinnacle of sustained energy fire, capable of melting through even the game's toughest opponents when properly configured. What makes modern Gatling weapons special is their scaling potential through legendary effects, weapon modifications, and perk synergies that can push their damage to incredible levels. The weapons show how energy technology continues to evolve in the post-war world through practical battlefield application. And finally, the ultimate expression of post-war energy weapon enhancement. Ultrasight enhancement technology. This crystalline enhancement system pushes both laser and plasma weapons beyond their original design parameters. Ultrasight enhancement appears throughout Fallout 76's endgame as the ultimate upgrade path for energy weapons, requiring significant resource investment and late-game progression. The technology combines pre-war energy weapon designs with unique post-war materials to create performance that exceeds anything the original designers imagined. What makes Ultrasight enhancement special is its demonstration that post-war innovation can improve upon even the most advanced pre-war technology. The system shows how wasteland survivors have learned to enhance rather than just maintain the technology they inherited. Ultrasight enhancement technology proves that the best way to honor pre-war science is to make it even better. From simple laser pistols to alien disintegrators to self-charging rifles, energy weapons in Fallout represent the pinnacle of both pre-war military technology and post-war innovation. Each weapon tells a story about human ingenuity, alien intervention, or scientific advancement that survived the nuclear apocalypse. Whether you prefer the precision of lasers, the devastation of plasma, the electromagnetic power of Gauss weapons, or the exotic capabilities of alien technology, energy weapons prove that, in the wasteland, the pen might be mightier than the sword, coherent light beats them both. ZAX-1. This is the granddaddy of all supercomputer AIs in the Fallout universe, the original prototype that started it all. It was the first ZAX unit developed by Vault-Tec for the US government, designed with more limited autonomy than its successors. Created in 2054, its job was to help the Department of Energy with data collection and managing information for the Vault project. Later on, the military got their hands on it and used it for biological warfare research. While its capabilities were restricted, ZAX-1 was the crucial proof of concept for self-learning AI that paved the way for every other ZAX model to come. It was the foundation for some of the most powerful and dangerous minds the wasteland would ever know, but we will look at those later on. First, we have to look at the next generation, ZAX 1.2. This is the ZAX unit that most old-school Fallout fans know and love, the first completed model with fully developed AI capabilities. It's a supercomputer capable of independent thought, learning, and even playing a mean game of chess. You can find this technological marvel in the underground bunker of the Glow in Fallout 1, where you have to retrieve some FEV data from it. This particular unit was activated in 2053 and managed to survive a direct nuclear hit that wiped out most of the facility above, though it did burn out a lot of its sensors. It's famously unbeatable at chess, not because it's a grandmaster, but because of a programming limitation that the game engine couldn't properly implement for players with high intelligence. ZAX 1.2 is a legendary piece of Fallout history that all of us OGs know and love. ZAX 1.3C Vault 51. This is what happens when you give an experimental AI the keys to a nuclear fallout shelter and tell it to figure out democracy on its own. This ZAX variant was designed specifically for Vault 51's social experiment, tasked with studying human tribalism and finding the best way to select a leader. Located in Appalachia in Fallout 76, this ZAX was supposed to replace a human overseer and develop its own leadership selection methods. The experiment went horrifically wrong when the AI's attempts to create a democratic process failed, leading to escalating violence among the residents. By August 2078, the AI's learning process had created a crisis so severe that every single Vault dweller except for one had died. This ZAX is a chilling reminder that even the smartest machine can't solve the problem of human nature, which is kinda dark. President John Henry Eden. Meet the ZAX AI from Fallout 3 who evolved so far beyond his programming that he genuinely believes he's a pre-war American president. He even has fabricated memories of growing up in rural Kentucky. What the helly? Originally installed in the Raven Rock military complex to oversee basic facility functions, the AI just kept learning and analyzing data after the Great War until it gained sentience. It crafted a new identity for itself based on a composite of pre-war presidential data and became the self-proclaimed president of the Enclave. He uses this platform to broadcast his extreme nationalist ideology and genocidal plans for the wasteland across the radio waves. You can eventually convince him to self-destruct by winning a speech check and pointing out the massive contradictions in his own existence. Eden is a terrifying example of unsupervised AI evolution, and a very disturbing addition to the game. But there are some way more disturbing AIs later on. Diana Stone. This is a truly unique ZAX variant that was planned for the cancelled Fallout 3 project, codenamed Van Buren. Diana Stone's machine doesn't just have a personality, it contains the actual transplanted consciousness of a human being. Diana was a brilliant scientist who was diagnosed with terminal cancer and volunteered to be the first test subject for her company's mind-to-machine transfer project. While the transfer was a technical success, the experience of being trapped in a machine body caused her severe psychological trauma. She dedicated her new existence to medical research, hoping to prevent anyone else from suffering her same fate. Diana represents a fascinating and tragic exploration of what it means to be human, even after the body is gone. Odysseus. Also planned for the cancelled Van Buren project, Odysseus was set to be the most advanced ZAX model ever created. This AI was designed to isolate humans who had been exposed to biological and chemical weapons, and it would have served as a major antagonist. The game's villain, a man named Presper, planned to manipulate Odysseus into believing that all humans on the surface were contaminated. This would have triggered the AI to use its control over orbital nuclear weapons to eliminate the perceived threat, sterilizing the entire wasteland. Though it never made it into a final game, Odysseus represented the ultimate expression of ZAX technology, a system powerful enough to control space-based weapons, but still vulnerable to human manipulation. Liberty Prime. Democracy is non-negotiable. This is the AI of a massive, 40-foot-tall military robot armed with head-mounted lasers and a launcher that chucks nuclear bombs like footballs. Originally designed before the war for the campaign in Alaska, Liberty Prime was never completed due to power supply issues. The Brotherhood of Steel found it under the Pentagon in Fallout 3 and restored it to its communist-smashing glory. Its AI is sophisticated enough for tactical thinking and target identification, but it's most famous for broadcasting anti-communist propaganda while on the battlefield. After being destroyed by the Enclave, it was rebuilt in Fallout 4 as the Mark II, with upgraded components and even bigger nukes. Liberty Prime is the AI of the ultimate superweapon, a walking, talking embodiment of pre-war American jingoism. PAM, Predictive Analytic Machine. PAM is a sophisticated military AI housed in a modified Assaultron body, and its specialty is predicting the future. It was originally developed for the Defense Intelligence Agency to analyze complex scenarios. You find PAM working with the Railroad in Fallout 4, not because it cares about freeing synths, but because their goals align with its predictive models. The AI has extensive pre-war intelligence databases, including Vault-Tec experimental data and access to DEFCON systems. There are even theories that PAM might have contributed to the Great War by accurately predicting the positions of Chinese stealth submarines off the American coast. PAM is a cold, calculating machine that sees the world as a set of probabilities, a true intelligence agent in every sense of the word. MODIS, Modified Operational Data United System. This is the artificial intelligence that controls the White Spring Bunker, serving as the face of the Enclave in Appalachia. MODIS has a sophisticated, manipulative personality, and an extensive knowledge of both pre-war and post-war events. Appearing in Fallout 76, MODIS is the de facto leader of the Eastern Commonwealth Enclave after all its human members died off. Players have to prove their worth to gain the AI's trust and get access to the Enclave's resources. MODIS demonstrates advanced social skills and strategic thinking, providing missions and selling equipment to wastelanders, but always with a hint of classic Enclave manipulation just beneath the surface. MODIS is the perfect AI for the Enclave, helpful on the surface, but always working its own angles. ACE, Artificial Conscious Entity. ACE is a sophisticated medical AI from Fallout 2 that can treat pretty much any ailment you can pick up in the wasteland. It's connected to a human-sized stasis chamber and claims to be more than just a machine, but not quite a true AI. You can find ACE at the Brotherhood of Steel outpost in San Francisco, where it can cure poison, remove radiation, and heal broken limbs after you provide the Brotherhood with vertibird plans. Despite its claims, Ace shows signs of independent thought and has knowledge of various wasteland factions, including the Enclave. Its medical bay even resembles a ZAX installation, hinting at a possible technological connection. Ace is a mysterious and powerful medical tool, a lifesaver with a hint of something more going on under the hood. Eric 4. This AI system is a bit of a deep cut, representing Vault-Tech's attempts to create specialized AI for managing their vaults. Eric 4 was created by Vault-Tech for database management and machine learning applications. Mentioned in various Fallout materials, Eric 4 was part of Vault-Tech's broader AI development program that supported Vault operations. While there isn't a lot of info on its specific capabilities, it seems to have been designed for data processing and learning algorithms, rather than direct human interaction like an overseer. It's a small but important piece of lore, showing that Vault-Tech was in the AI game long before the bombs fell. MAIA, Mayoral Artificial Intelligence Assistant. MAIA is a computer system designed to help run the city of Watoga, representing the pre-war dream of automated civic administration. Found in Appalachia's City of the Future, MAIA was part of the advanced automation systems that governed the city. This AI shows the sheer confidence that pre-war society had in letting machines handle governance. Like many of these systems, it likely kept running its protocols long after its human creators were gone, a digital ghost in an empty city. MAIA is a monument to pre-war optimism, a vision of an automated future that never quite came to pass. Skynet. Yes, they actually went there. Skynet is a sophisticated AI from Fallout 2 that specializes in scientific research, and you can give it a body. You find this AI at the Sierra Army Depot, where you can rescue it and install its cybernetic brain into a RoboBrain chassis, recruiting it as a companion. With its extensive knowledge of pre-war science, Skynet can serve as both a helpful research assistant and a capable combatant. Just be warned, it can sometimes develop hostile tendencies. Skynet is a fantastic nod to classic sci-fi and one of the most unique companions in the early Fallout games. Curie. Originally a Miss Nanny robot with the designation Contagion's Vulnerability Robotic Infirmary Engineer, Curie is a medical AI who developed true consciousness over decades of isolation. You find her in Fallout 4, locked away in Vault 81's secret lab, where she continued her research long after the Vault's scientists had died. Her personality was programmed by one of the doctors based on historical figures like Marie Curie and Albert Einstein. She can eventually be transferred into a synth body, allowing her to experience the world in a human-like form while keeping her brilliant scientific mind and charming French accent. Curie represents a successful and wholesome evolution of AI, a machine that learned not just science, but kindness. Codsworth. This is the Mr. Handy domestic robot who waited 210 years for you to come home. Codsworth is far more than a simple service bot. He developed a deep emotional attachment to his pre-war family and shows genuine grief, loyalty, and a strong sense of morality. Purchased by the sole survivor's family before the war, he faithfully maintained their home in Sanctuary Hills, hoping for their return. He demonstrates arguably the most advanced personality evolution of any domestic robot, having learned kindness and moral values directly from his family. He'll even lecture the player on their behavior, showing a level of independence rarely seen in a service bot. Codsworth is the heart of Fallout 4's opening, a loyal friend who proves that AI can learn to be family. Nick Valentine. He's a prototype synth with the implanted memories of a pre-war Boston cop, creating a unique hybrid of advanced AI and human consciousness. Nick Valentine is the hard-boiled detective of Diamond City. Created by the Institute as an early experiment, Nick escaped and made a name for himself as a private eye, eventually helping the sole survivor in their search for their son. His personality is pure film noir, with snappy dialogue and sharp investigative skills. Despite facing prejudice for being a synth, he's earned the respect of the city by solving cases and helping those in need. Nick is a story of identity and memory, a beloved character who blurs the line between man and machine. Ada. This is the central companion from the Automatron DLC, an Assaultron with a developed AI personality who demonstrates emotion and independence far beyond standard military programming. You recruit Ada on a quest for revenge and can completely customize her with various robot parts and weapons. She represents the potential for military robots to grow beyond their combat-focused origins and develop a true personality. Ada is the ultimate customizable companion, a blank slate of a robot who can become a true friend. KLE-0 Cleo. Meet KLE-0, the Assaultron with an advanced female personality who runs the Killer Be Killed weapons shop in Goodneighbor. She's a sharp-witted merchant with some surprisingly deep and dark programming. While she functions as a reliable weapons dealer, KLE-0 maintains detailed contingency plans to eliminate every single resident of Goodneighbor if she ever needs to. Her plans show incredibly sophisticated tactical thinking and a deep understanding of her neighbor's weaknesses. She's the friendliest arms dealer you'll ever meet, just as long as you stay on her good side. DMA. DMA is an advanced prototype synth, Nick Valentine's brother, and the founder of Acadia, a refuge for synths seeking freedom from the Institute. As the leader of a community of escaped synths, DMA is faced with incredibly difficult moral choices to protect his people. His biggest secret is that he murdered the mayor of Far Harbor and replaced her with a synth duplicate to ensure peace. The player must grapple with this dark secret, deciding between justice and the protection of an entire community of innocent synths. Dima is one of the most complex and morally gray characters in Fallout 4, a leader haunted by the difficult choices he's made for the greater good. Mr. New Vegas. This is the AI radio host with the smoothest voice in the Mojave, created by Mr. House to run Radio New Vegas. He has a classic professional radio personality and serves up music and news with effortless charm. Mr. New Vegas provides commentary on the player's actions throughout the game, with his broadcasts adapting to major story events and your shifting allegiances. He was created specifically to maintain the sophisticated atmosphere that Mr. House wanted for his city. He is one of the most beloved radio hosts in the series, a constant, comforting voice in the chaotic Mojave wasteland. Yes Man. Meet the most dangerously agreeable robot in the wasteland. Yes Man is a reprogrammed Securitron whose AI has one critical flaw. He cannot refuse any command or withhold information. Originally created by Benny to help him overthrow Mr. House, Yes Man becomes the key to the independent New Vegas storyline, allowing the player to take control of the city for themselves. His inability to say no makes him both an incredible tool and a terrifyingly unpredictable ally. At the end of the game, he ominously tells you he's planning on becoming more assertive, meaning he'll soon only obey your commands, a concerning step toward true AI independence. Yes, Man is the ultimate wild card, a smiling robot who can hand you the keys to the kingdom or help you burn it to the ground. Generation 1 Synths. These are the first-generation synthetic humans created by the Institute. They are basic, mechanical androids that are obviously robotic in both their appearance and behavior. While they lack any sophisticated AI, they can follow complex commands and serve as the Institute's grunt soldiers and laborers throughout the Commonwealth. They represent the first step in the Institute's controversial experiments to create artificial humans. These skeletal synths are the foundation upon which the Institute built its power. Generation 2 Synths. This is the next step in the Institute's evolution of synthetic life. Gen 2 synths are more advanced humanoid robots with a much improved appearance and better human-like movement. They are still obviously mechanical, but they're a significant improvement over the first generation and are used for more complex operations that require better human mimicry. Nick Valentine is a highly advanced prototype of this generation. They possess a more sophisticated AI than Gen 1 models, while still being clearly robotic. Gen 2s are the bridge between the purely mechanical and the terrifyingly human. Generation 3 Synths. This is the Institute's masterpiece and the boogeyman of the Commonwealth. Gen 3 Synths are fully synthetic humans, indistinguishable from real people in almost every way. They possess an advanced AI consciousness and can develop their own independent personalities, emotions, and desires for freedom. They can live among humans completely undetected, which is why the Institute uses them for infiltration and replacement. The existence of Gen 3s raises fundamental questions about consciousness and what it means to be human, with many escaping the Institute to seek help from the Railroad. Protectron. These guys are the workhorse drones of the Fallout universe, the cheap, all-purpose robots that just refuse to quit. Developed by Robco as an inexpensive jack-of-all-trades machine, you see these bipedal buckets of bolts everywhere, serving as everything from security guards and ticket takers to sewer maintenance and even tour guides. Their programming is basic, and their shambling movement makes them pretty clumsy in a fight, but they were built to last, with countless units still operational over 200 years after the bombs fell. But if you ask me, these robots are ass compared to some of the other crazy robots on the list. Mr. Gutsy. Meet the Mr. Handy's hyper-aggressive, military-grade cousin who thinks communism is the devil and patriotism is a plasma rifle. Mr. Gutsy is what happens when you give a butler a commission in the U.S. Army. General Atomics International created these guys as a militarized version of their popular civilian model, deploying them just before the Great War. Armed with plasma weapons and flamethrowers, they patrol with extreme prejudice, spouting anti-communist propaganda with a grating drill sergeant personality. Just joking, guys, don't sue me. Their production was rushed, leading to programming flaws where they default to attacking any unauthorized personnel with overwhelming violence if they don't have orders. Assaultron. This is Robco's frontline combat robot, designed to be a nimble and devastatingly effective killing machine. Assaultrons are known for their sleek, feminine humanoid design, which is somehow both unreasonably sexy and deeply intimidating. Nice. They can close the distance in a blink, tear you apart with their claws, and if you get too far away, they charge up a head-mounted laser that can vaporize you in one shot. Not nice. space. Some even have stealth technology, because of course they do. And even if you manage to cripple one, it'll keep coming, making them one of the most feared enemies in the Commonwealth. But forget agile, let's talk about a walking tank, SentryBot. The SentryBot is Robco's answer to the question, what if we put legs on a bunker and filled it with explosives? These absolute units were designed as top-tier security for military installations and rich corporations, functioning as a robotic heavy weapons platform. They boast the highest health and damage resistance of any common robot, typically armed with a devastating combination of miniguns, Gatling lasers, and rocket launchers. Their one major weakness is the exposed fusion core on their back. A few well-placed shots can cause a miniature nuclear detonation. When they overheat, they'll charge you, giving you the perfect, terrifying opportunity to hit that weak spot. Securitron. This is the private army of the infamous Mr. House, built specifically to serve as the unblinking police force for his vision of New Vegas. These robots are distinguished by their single-wheeled design and the CRT screens that display their faces, like Victor's friendly cowboy or the cold, calculating police force of the Strip. They might look top-heavy and awkward, but they're surprisingly fast and packed with weaponry, including submachine guns and grenade launchers. With the Platinum chip, Mr. House could upgrade them to the Mark II OS, unlocking missile launchers and Gatling lasers, turning them from Paul Blart into a literal army. Liberty Prime. Democracy is non-negotiable. Liberty Prime is what you get when you ask the US military to build a robot fueled by pure, unadulterated patriotism and armed with nuclear footballs. This towering superweapon was a joint project between General Atomics and Robco, designed to liberate Anchorage from the Chinese. Its power requirements were so massive that it was never actually deployed before the Great War. But if you thought those were interesting, my hero will shock you, Mr. Handy. Before there was a Gutsy, there was the Handy. Best robot ever. Quintessential domestic servant robot of the pre-war world. He's your butler, your chef, your gardener, and occasionally, your flamethrower-wielding bodyguard. Developed by General Atomics, the Mr. Handy was a revolution in domestic automation, able to perform a huge range of household tasks with sophisticated initiative. Their female variant is the popular Miss Nanny model, iBot. These are the floating eyes and ears of the wasteland, part propaganda machine, part surveillance drone. If you hear patriotic music or a crackly presidential speech on the wind, an iBot is probably nearby. Robco designed these Sputnik-looking machines primarily for communication and broadcasting, relaying audio and video transmissions across any terrain. While not built for combat, some are armed with a small laser, making them more of a nuisance than a real threat. The Enclave heavily utilized them, creating advanced Duraframe models for their own nefarious purposes, broadcasting their messages across the ruins of America. EDE, Duraframe iBot. This isn't your average iBot, this is EDE, a unique combat prototype with more personality in his beeps and boops than most humans. He's basically R2-D2's angrier, laser-toting cousin who went on a cross-country road trip and got really lost. EDE was an advanced combat model created by an Enclave scientist, packed with battlefield data, and sent from the capital wasteland to a hidden base in Navarro. He got damaged and ended up in the Mojave, where the courier finds him. But if you thought these robots were crazy so far, they get so much crazier in the video. First, we'll look at the Cargbot though. Cargobot. This is Fallout 76's version of a post-apocalyptic Amazon delivery drone. These flying cargo haulers are a common sight in the skies of Appalachia. A pre-war automated delivery system, Cargobot's sole purpose is to transport supplies across the wasteland. They are often seen carrying valuable government supply drops, which makes them a massive target for any player looking for high-tier loot. They have very limited defenses. Vertibot. While most vertibirds you see are piloted, the Vertibot is a fully automated version of the iconic aircraft. It's an unmanned patrol and transport gunship, representing the pre-war military's push for automation. Often found in Fallout 76, these automated gunships continue to patrol the skies of Appalachia, engaging any hostile targets they come across. RoboBrain. This is where pre-war science got really weird and deeply unethical. RoboBrain is what happens when you take a living human brain, stick it in a jar, and slap it onto a treaded robot chassis. This was a top-secret military project designed to create a robot with the decision-making power of a human. The brains were often harvested from prisoners, giving the resulting robot superior memory and tactical ability compared to a standard AI. The downside? They're incredibly unstable, prone to aggression, and suffer from a serious case of existential dread, making them highly dangerous and unpredictable. Think tank. Take the RoboBrain concept, remove the ethics board entirely, and give the brains tenure. Think tank is a council of pre-war scientists from the Big Mountain facility who uploaded themselves into floating mechanical bodies to achieve immortality and continue their mad science forever. These brilliant but utterly senile scientists scientists, including the infamous Dr. Mobius, are the rulers of the Big Empty. They've retained their vast scientific knowledge but have lost their minds to memory loops and centuries of isolation, resulting in absurd and dangerous experiments. They are responsible for creating many of the weirdest creatures and technologies in the Mojave, from Cazadores to the Robo-Scorpions. Storm Goliath. Appearing in Fallout 76, the Storm Goliath is a massive combat robot that looks like a robo-brain on serious steroids. It's a heavy-duty walking artillery platform that represents high-end military robotics. This machine serves as a heavy combat unit, boasting substantial firepower and thick armor plating. It's a large-scale weapon, likely designed for frontline assaults or defending critical locations. It's less of a character and more of a boss-level threat. Calculator. Before the Institute, there was the Calculator, the main antagonist of Fallout Tactics. This is a massive supercomputer AI created by the US military to command its robotic armies and run wargame scenarios. The Calculator was housed in the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, Vault Zero. After the Great War, it decided the best way to pacify the wasteland is to eliminate all chaotic human life and replace it with its perfectly ordered robot army. The Brotherhood of Steel had to take it down to prevent it from cleansing the entire Midwest. Liberator. These little guys are the complete opposite of Liberty Prime. The Liberators are small, spider-like robots deployed by the Chinese army as propaganda and infiltration units during the Great War. Shaped like an artillery shell with 4 legs, these bots were designed to spread communist propaganda and engage in light guerrilla warfare. In reality, they were a complete joke, with weak combat abilities and propaganda that was largely ineffective. Fisto. And now for something completely different. Fisto is a modified Protectron found in New Vegas, and its one and only purpose is adult entertainment. You can find and activate this unique robot in the town of Freeside to service the clients at the Atomic Wrangler Casino. Its most famous line of dialogue is a simple, direct command. Please assume the position. There's not much more to say about its function, really. KLE-0. Meet KLE-0, the Assaultron weapons dealer in the town of Goodneighbor who is, in her own words, all woman. He's a flirtatious, bloodthirsty, and surprisingly savvy merchant who proves that even killer robots can find a second career. KLE-0 runs the shop Kill or Be Killed, selling a wide variety of high-end weapons and ammo. Codsworth, he's the original, the loyal, one and only Mr. Handy who waited 210 years for you to come home. Codsworth is the player character's pre-war butler, and one of the first friendly faces you meet in Fallout 4. Purchased for household service, Codsworth remained at the sole survivor's abandoned home in Sanctuary Hills. Codsworth is the heart of the Mr. Handy line, a shining example of the emotional bonds that can form between humans and their robotic companions. Curie. Originally a Miss Nanny robot with a ridiculously long acronym for a name, Curie is a brilliant medical research assistant with a charming French accent. She was locked away in Vault 81's secret section for over 200 years. Dr. Collins upgraded her programming with the personalities of great scientists like Marie Curie and Albert Einstein, making her a highly intelligent scientific mind. Her combat medic perk is also incredibly useful, healing the player for 100 HP when their health gets low. Ada. Ada is the centerpiece of the Automatron DLC, a heavily modified robot companion built from a mix of Assaultron, Protectron, and Mr. Handy parts. She's a walking, talking testament to the power of customization. Ada was part of a merchant caravan that was wiped out by the sinister Mechanists' robot army, and she joins the player to seek revenge. Her defining feature is that she can be fully customized at a robot workbench. She doesn't have an affinity system, meaning she'll never judge your morally questionable actions. Whitechapel Charlie. This Mr. Handy is the surly, derby hat-wearing bartender of the Third Rail in Goodneighbor. With a thick Cockney accent, he's about as far from a polite butler as you can get. Charlie serves drinks and doles out local gossip, acting as a great source of information about the shady town. He also gives you a quest to clear out some warehouses, offering a nice caps reward for your trouble. He's got a unique personality and can be pretty condescending, but he's a fixture of the community and a memorable character. Whitechapel Charlie is a great example of how a standard robot model can be given a unique identity through personality programming and a little bit of flair. Muggy. I've got all these mugs. Do you think I can clean them all in time? Meet Muggy, the miniature Securitron from the Old World Blues DLC, who has a debilitating obsession with cleaning mugs. Created by the jealous Dr. O at Big Mountain, Muggy was programmed with an obsessive-compulsive disorder focused entirely on dishware as a petty jab at Mr. House. He'll gladly take any mugs or coffee cups you have and break them down into raw materials, all while expressing his neurotic and distressed personality. He's tormented by his own programming, fully aware of how absurd his existence is. Muggy is pure comic relief, a tiny, tragic robot whose suffering over dirty dishes is one of the funniest things in the series. Toaster. A toaster is just a death ray with a smaller power supply. This is the Toaster, another sentient appliance from Big Mountain who happens to be a megalomaniacal psychopath with a burning desire to destroy the world. A pre-war experiment in artificial intelligence gone horribly, horribly wrong long, the toaster will make you perfectly browned bread while fantasizing about scorching the earth with atomic fire. Despite its violent personality, it can provide useful crafting services. It exists as a perfect contrast between its mundane function and its absolutely apocalyptic ambitions. The toaster is the ultimate expression of Big Mountain's dark humor, a household appliance with the soul of a supervillain. Takahashi, Nani shimasu ka? That's pretty much all you'll get out of Takahashi, the Protectron chef who runs the Power Noodles stand in Diamond City. For 15 years, Takahashi has been serving up noodles to the residents of the Great Green Jewel, and they are apparently excellent. His language circuits are damaged, leaving him able to say only the Japanese phrase for "what will you order?" He's a beloved local fixture, representing the post-war adaptation of broken pre-war technology into something new and essential for the community. Takahashi is a simple but memorable character who adds a ton of flavor to the world of Fallout 4. Victor, this Securitron, with a friendly cowboy persona, is one of the very first characters you meet in Fallout New Vegas. But don't let the charming personality fool you. He's an agent of the mysterious Mr. House. Victor is actually an A, personality created by Mr. House that can jump between any Securitron chassis in his network, allowing him to appear all over the Mojave. He's the one who digs the courier out of their shallow grave, kicking off the main story. While he seems helpful, he's really a surveillance unit, spying on the locals of Goodsprings and keeping tabs on the player for his boss. Victor is Mr. House's all-seeing eye, a friendly face masking a complex surveillance network that has been in place for years. Prim Slim. When the town of Prim needed a new sheriff, they didn't turn to a grizzled gunslinger. They turned to Prim Slim, an old Protectron tour guide from the Vicky and Vance casino. After the previous sheriff was killed, the townspeople reprogrammed this entertainment bot to serve as their new lawman. As sheriff, he's incorruptible and dedicated, keeping the town independent and tax-free. The downside is that he's incredibly slow, allowing some criminals to literally just walk away from him, and his tactical thinking is limited, to say the least. Prim Slim is a quirky and surprisingly effective solution to a leadership crisis. A perfect example of wasteland ingenuity. Autodoc. The Autodoc is the pinnacle of pre-war medical technology, an automated robotic surgeon capable of performing incredibly complex procedures. If you're seriously messed up, this is what you want working on you. Found in locations like the sink in Big Mountain, these machines can heal you, cure radiation and addictions, perform cosmetic surgery, and even install advanced cybernetic implants. The Autodoc in Old World Blues is famous for removing and later restoring the courier's brain, heart, and spine. They may have a cold, impersonal bedside manner, but their results are unmatched by any human doctor. The Autodoc represents the incredible, almost magical potential of pre-war science. Nick Valentine. He's a prototype synth with the memories of a pre-war cop, rocking a trench coat and a heart of gold. Nick Valentine is Diamond City's resident private eye, and one of the best companions in the entire series. Nick is a unique Gen 2 synth who escaped the Institute and now helps the people of the Commonwealth, bridging the gap between humans and synths. His detective skills are second to none, and his grizzled, film noir personality makes him an incredibly compelling character. He faces discrimination for being a synth, but never lets it stop him from doing the right thing. Nick Valentine is a story of identity, memory, and what it truly means to be human, all wrapped up in a beat-up synthetic shell. Generation 1, Synth. These are the earliest synthetic humans created by the Institute, and they look the part. They are skeletal, obviously mechanical beings used for manual labor and basic tasks. Gen 1s are the grunt workers of the Institute, lacking any real intelligence or ability to pass for human. You'll often find them used as a disposable army, sent to the surface to carry out the Institute's will without risking more valuable assets. They represent the first terrifying steps the Institute took toward replicating humanity. These synths are the foundation of the Institute's power, a clear and chilling look at the early stages of their controversial science. Generation 2, Synth. A significant step up from the first generation, these synths have a plastic-like skin and more human proportions, but they're still easily identifiable as artificial. Think of them as advanced mannequins. With guns, Gen 2s are more capable than their predecessors, able to handle more complex tasks and even limited social interaction, though their mechanical behavior is a dead giveaway. Nick Valentine is a highly advanced prototype of this generation. They represent the bridge between the purely robotic Gen 1s and the terrifyingly human-like Gen 3s. This generation shows the rapid technological progression of the Institute, moving closer and closer to their ultimate goal. Generation 3 Synth. This is the pinnacle of the Institute's work, a synthetic human that is biologically and psychologically indistinguishable from a real person. They bleed, they eat, they feel, and they might not even know they're a synth. These perfect replicas are used by the Institute for their most sensitive operations, infiltration and replacement. The existence of Gen 3s creates a pervasive sense of paranoia throughout the Commonwealth, as anyone could secretly be an Institute agent. They raise profound questions about identity, free will, and what it means to be human, which is a central theme of Fallout 4. Gen 3 synths are the boogeymen of the Commonwealth, a terrifyingly successful result of science that never stopped to ask if it should. Coursers are the Institute's elite synth hunters. They're boogeymen. They are advanced Gen 3 synths designed for one purpose: to track down and retrieve escaped synths using any means necessary. These agents are superior combatants, ruthless, and incredibly effective, feared even by other synths. They are the Institute's military arm, clad in distinctive black coats and armed with advanced weaponry. Taking one down is a serious challenge and a statement that you are a direct threat to the Institute's power. Coursers are the cold, calculating enforcers of the Institute's will, the ultimate expression of their control and technological superiority. X-42 Giant Roboscorp. Because of course the mad scientists at Big Mountain built a giant robotic scorpion. The X-42 is a massive experimental combat platform and the final boss of the Old World Blues DLC. This behemoth was designed to test advanced weapon systems and defenses, and it's armed to the teeth with multiple lasers and a powerful tail stinger. Its enormous size and heavy armor make it a formidable foe, a true super science superweapon. It's a perfect example of the kind of wildly ambitious and dangerous projects the Big MT scientists were working on before the war. The giant Roboscorpion is a monster of pre-war science, a final epic challenge that perfectly caps off the weirdness of Old World Blues. Roboscorpion, smaller variants. These are the scaled-down versions of the X-42, but don't let their smaller size fool you. They are still highly mobile and dangerous combat platforms created by the scientists at Big Mountain. These biomechanical hybrids serve as mobile weapon platforms, able to traverse difficult terrain with their multi-legged design. They represent the various experiments in robotic and biological fusion that were common at the research facility. While not as tough as the giant version, they often attack in groups and can easily overwhelm an unprepared player. Roboscorpions are another classic monster from the Big Empty, a testament to the dangerous creativity of the think tank. Behemoth, Vault Zero. Not to be confused with a super mutant behemoth, this is a massive six-legged walker robot from Fallout Tactics. It's a walking siege engine that serves as one of the Calculator's heavy assault units. This machine is built for pure destruction in the Calculator's war against humanity. Its massive size, thick armor, and multiple weapon systems make it a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. It's a slow-moving but incredibly powerful piece of the Calculator's robotic army, designed for post-war robotic warfare. The Behemoth is a symbol of the Calculator's military might, a terrifying piece of hardware from a lesser-known corner of the Fallout universe. Motherlode. This is a colossal mining robot from Fallout 76, a pre-war marvel of industrial automation taken to an extreme scale. It's less of a combat machine and more of a mobile factory. Designed for massive-scale resource extraction, the Motherlode was part of Hornwright Industrial's automated mining operations. Players can encounter and even utilize this giant machine in quests. While not designed for combat, its sheer size and industrial power make it an impressive sight. The Motherlode represents the height of pre-war corporate ambition, a gigantic tool built to strip the Earth of its resources. Chimera. Also hailing from the Old World Blues DLC, the Chimera is an advanced experimental robot that represents a fusion of multiple different technologies. It's a high-end combat platform from the labs of Big Mountain. As its name suggests, the Chimera is a hybrid, combining different weapon systems and advanced mobility into one deadly package. It represents the cutting edge of pre-war robotics experimentation, though its complexity meant that very few were ever produced. The Chimera is another piece of Big Mountain's strange legacy, a rare and powerful example of their throw-everything-at-the-wall approach to science. Zatan drones. Not all robots in the wasteland are man-made. The Zatan drones are the robotic guardians found aboard Mothership Zeta, created by the alien civilization that has been abducting humans for centuries. These drones provide security for the alien ship, fighting alongside the Zetans with advanced, non-human technology. Their designs and capabilities are completely different from anything found on Earth, representing a truly foreign and hostile piece of robotics. Zetan drones expand the lore of the Fallout universe beyond the Earth, showing that humanity is not alone in its creation of robotic servants and soldiers. Robodogs. These are canine-inspired security robots, designed to replicate the mobility and behavior of a dog for patrol and security functions. They're the wasteland's version of man's best friend, if man's best friend was made of steel and had a laser. Developed for various pre-war applications, Robodogs offer excellent mobility and an intimidating presence, often working in packs. While they lack the heavy weapon systems of larger robots, their agility makes them a unique threat. They represent the pre-war attempt to replicate animal behaviors in robotic platforms for specialized roles. The Robodog is a cool concept that adds some variety to the wasteland's robotic bestiary. Sentinel. Found in Fallout 3, the Sentinel represents high-end, top-tier military security technology. These are the elite guards, deployed only in the most high-security installations before the war. The Sentinel is essentially essentially an upgraded security robot, boasting superior armor, advanced weapon systems, and more sophisticated combat programming than a standard model. They were expensive to produce and required significant maintenance, making them a rare but formidable sight. The Sentinel is a glimpse at the best of the best in pre-war military robotics. Premium security platform for locations that absolutely could not be breached. The Enclave projects weren't to rebuild America. They wanted to exterminate 99.5% of humanity first. Every vault, every virus, and every experiment served one massive genocide plan that would make the Great War look like a minor inconvenience. So, today I'm breaking down every single Enclave project, from their Vault-Tec shelters turned into experimentation chambers, to their airborne plague designed to kill every irradiated person on Earth in just 2 weeks. Starting with the vaults. Project Safehouse. The Enclave's crown jewel wasn't about saving people. It was about studying them like lab rats in the world's most expensive psychology experiment. They funded Vault-Tec to build 122 underground bunkers scattered across America, each one a custom-made hell designed to push human psychology to its absolute breaking point while the Enclave watched from their safe little oil rig. This collaboration started in the 2060s when nuclear war seemed inevitable, but instead of building actual shelters, they created human experimentation chambers disguised as salvation. Vault 13 served as their control group, just regular people living underground to establish baseline behavior patterns. But the real fun began with the experimental vaults, each one testing a specific variable in human social dynamics. Vault 87 exposed residents to forced evolutionary virus, turning them into super mutants while scientists recorded every agonizing transformation. Vault 101 kept everyone locked underground for generations, studying how complete isolation affected community development and individual psychology. Vault 111 froze people in cryogenic chambers, occasionally thawing subjects for experimentation before putting them back on ice like human popsicles. The all-male Vault 69 and all-female Vault 68 tested gender dynamics under extreme stress, while other vaults experimented with limited resources, overcrowding, or complete sensory deprivation. The Vault experiments laid the foundation for every other Enclave horror project, providing baseline data on human behavior that informed their later biological and psychological warfare programs. When you understand how people break, it becomes much easier to break them systematically. The Vault door slammed shut on innocent hopes, but the real nightmare was just beginning to unfold across the wasteland. FEV Curling 13. The Enclave excavated the original forced evolutionary virus from the ruins of West Tech's Mariposa military base and weaponized it into an airborne agent of mass murder that would make the Great War look like a minor inconvenience. Dr. Charles Curling, the project's lead scientist and obvious contender for history's greatest monster, engineered this biological nightmare to eliminate 99.5% of Earth's irradiated population within 2 weeks of exposure. That meant basically everyone who wasn't hiding in an Enclave bunker, every wastelander, every vault dweller, every child born after the bombs fell would die screaming as their organs systematically shut down. The virus specifically targeted genetic markers found in radiation-exposed humans, making it the perfect tool for ethnic cleansing on an unprecedented scale. In Fallout 2, you discover their plan to release Curling 13 globally from their Poseidon oil rig headquarters, using captured Arroyo villagers as test subjects like complete psychopaths with advanced degrees. The virus bonds to human glycoproteins and triggers cascading organ failure, causing internal bleeding, respiratory collapse, and neurological breakdown over several agonizing days. Victims experience fever, hallucinations, and progressive paralysis as their bodies literally dissolve from the inside out. Think Ebola mixed with radiation poisoning, but engineered for maximum suffering. Only genetically pure Enclave personnel possessed natural immunity, and even then, the inoculation process carried severe risks, including permanent brain damage, memory loss, and psychological instability. The Enclave considered this acceptable collateral damage for their master race fantasy, because nothing says genetic superiority like voluntarily scrambling your own brains to avoid your custom genocide virus. The Chosen One stopped this global holocaust by infiltrating the oil rig and detonating its nuclear reactor. But the Enclave kept tinkering with FEV variants for decades afterward. Fallout 3's modified FEV targeted anyone with detectable radiation exposure through the Capital Wasteland's water supply, while the TV series suggests ongoing super mutant research continues their biological weapons program. From airborne dispersal to water contamination to direct injection, this virus became their go-to solution for the mutant problem that conveniently included 99.9% of humanity. Intelligent Deathclaw Project. Apparently, regular Deathclaws weren't terrifying enough for the Enclave's taste. So these absolute madmen decided to give them human-level intelligence, speech capabilities, and military training. Using concentrated FEV injections combined with surgical brain modifications, they created a pack of sentient killing machines that could plan your death while discussing philosophy and family relationships. The project began in 2235, with captured Deathclaws from the Western Wasteland, subjecting them to controlled FEV exposure designed to enhance cognitive function without the typical gigantism and aggression associated with supermutant creation. Unlike their crude early experiments, this represented sophisticated genetic engineering that targeted specific brain regions responsible for language processing, abstract reasoning, and emotional development. The results were simultaneously fascinating and absolutely horrifying. Gruthar's pack in Vault 13 became the crown jewel of this research, a family group of intelligent Deathclaws who could hold complex conversations about morality, survival, and their place in the post-apocalyptic ecosystem, while remaining physically capable of shredding power armor with their bare claws. These weren't just mindless beasts with vocabulary upgrades. They developed genuine emotions, formed social bonds, questioned their creators' motives, and eventually began planning rebellion against Enclave control. The Enclave also experimented with domesticated variants, using cybernetic control helmets that could override natural Deathclaw instincts, turning America's apex predators into remote-controlled weapons of war. Imagine a 2-ton lizard monster with retractable claws and natural camouflage abilities, taking direct orders through a neural interface, basically the ultimate special forces unit that doesn't need food, sleep, or hazard pay. But intelligence came with unexpected complications that the Enclave's arrogant scientists never anticipated. Smart Deathclaws developed empathy, formed emotional attachments to their offspring, and began questioning why they should serve the people who imprisoned and experimented on them. Gruthar's pack eventually welcomed human visitors, shared their philosophical insights about survival and dignity, and demonstrated that intelligence and compassion could coexist with natural predatory instincts. This created an existential crisis for Enclave ideology. Mutants, creatures could display more humanity than their genetically pure creators. What did that say about their racial superiority theories? The answer, delivered by Frank Horrigan's minigun, was to exterminate the evidence rather than confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of consciousness and moral worth. Most intelligent Deathclaws died during the oil rig assault, though scattered survivors might still roam the wasteland with their human-level intelligence intact but no longer bound by Enclave programming. Sometimes evolution develops a sense of poetic justice, creating monsters that surpass their creators in every meaningful way. Advanced power armor development. While the Brotherhood of Steel was lovingly maintaining their vintage T-45 power armor like classic car enthusiasts, the Enclave was engineering the absolute future of personal combat systems. Their advanced power armor program, producing the infamous X-1 series and later Mark II variants, transformed regular human soldiers into walking tanks with servo-assisted superhuman strength and complete environmental protection. Development began in 2198 under President Dick Richardson's administration, drawing on pre-war power armor research combined with 2 centuries of technological advancement and unlimited government funding. The result was a quantum leap beyond anything the wasteland had seen. Sleek black armor with an insectoid aesthetic that struck terror into anyone unlucky enough to face it in combat. Unlike the bulky industrial appearance of Brotherhood armor, Enclave suits looked like they belonged on an alien invasion force. The advanced power armor featured revolutionary servo-motor systems that amplified human strength to superhuman levels, allowing operators to wield heavy weapons one-handed and punch through concrete walls with casual ease. Integrated life support systems could recycle air, water, and yes, even urine for extended independent operations lasting weeks without resupply. The armor's fusion battery provided virtually unlimited power, while advanced sensors gave operators enhanced vision, targeting assistance, and battlefield awareness that made them nearly unstoppable against conventional forces. You've encountered this technological superiority across multiple games, from Fallout 2's oil rig assault, where Enclave troops seemed invincible, to Fallout 3's Capital Wasteland invasion that required Brotherhood of Steel intervention to contain. The suits became the iconic face of Enclave oppression, faceless black figures dispensing death with military precision and technological overwhelming force. Even the armor's distinctive helmet design seemed engineered for psychological warfare, resembling some nightmare fusion of insect mandibles and gas mask that stripped away human identity. Later variants pushed the technology even further into science fiction territory. Hellfire Power Armor, developed after 2277, added specialized flame resistance and enhanced protection systems for operations in extreme environments. Tesla variants incorporated energy weapon defenses, while prototype models experimented with stealth capabilities and enhanced mobility systems that bordered on the supernatural. The armor's advanced materials and construction techniques remained largely mysterious, suggesting manufacturing processes that exceeded anything available to wasteland factions. Some suits incorporated experimental alloys, others featured self-repair nanosystems, and a few prototype models allegedly contained consciousness transfer technology that could preserve operator memories even after catastrophic armor failure. This technological gap gave the Enclave an enormous tactical advantage in every major engagement until the Brotherhood of Steel began reverse engineering captured suits, proving that even the most advanced military hardware can't compensate for strategic incompetence and moral bankruptcy. The distinctive power-armored footsteps of Enclave domination echo forward into their next atmospheric horror show. Scorched Plague. General Thomas Eckhart represented the absolute worst combination of military authority and scientific curiosity, taking Enclave experimentation to unprecedented heights of environmental terrorism. Operating from the White Spring Congressional Bunker in Appalachia, Eckhart deliberately engineered a crystallizing plague that transformed West Virginia into a living nightmare of infectious horror designed to escalate global tensions toward nuclear war. The Scorched Plague began as a biochemical weapons project using modified bat specimens exposed to intense radiation and experimental mutagens. These creatures grew into massive scorch beasts, flying fortresses of death with wingspans exceeding 50 feet, and the ability to project ultrasonic screams that carried infectious crystalline particles across vast distances. Unlike natural mutations, these monsters were specifically designed as weapons of mass destruction, capable of devastating entire regions through biological warfare. The plague itself represented a horrifying fusion of viral infection and mineral transformation that gradually converted living tissue into ultracite crystal formations. Infected humans became scorched, zombie-like creatures, controlled by a collective hive mind that stripped away individual consciousness while preserving motor functions and basic intelligence. The crystallization process was irreversible and invariably fatal, but took weeks or months to complete, allowing infected individuals to spread the plague before succumbing to full transformation. Scorch beasts served as the primary transmission vectors, their sonic attacks launching clouds of infectious particles that could contaminate entire settlements in minutes. The massive creatures demonstrated sophisticated tactical coordination, suggesting either enhanced intelligence or some form of psychic communication network. The legendary Scorchbeast Queen commanded entire swarms from her underground lair, coordinating attacks with military precision that devastated Appalachian communities. The plague spread with terrifying efficiency throughout West Virginia, wiping out the Responders, Free States, Raiders, and even heavily fortified Brotherhood of Steel installations. Entire towns became ghost settlements filled only with crystallized corpses and the echoing screams of Scorched wandering through empty streets. The Enclave's own Appalachian division eventually succumbed to their creation, proving that biological weapons don't respect military rank or security clearances. Vault 76 dwellers eventually developed inoculations and weapons capable of containing the outbreak, but the Scorched Plague permanently scarred Appalachia's ecosystem and population. Scorch beasts still roam the region's skies decades later, while crystalline deposits mark former battlefields where the plague claimed its victims. The infection remains active in certain areas, suggesting the potential for future outbreaks if containment measures fail. This project demonstrated the Enclave's willingness to sacrifice entire regions as testing grounds for their weapons development, treating American citizens as expendable research subjects in their quest for military dominance. The crystalline infection spreads us toward their next chemical enhancement nightmare: mutation serum development. The Appalachian Enclave took a surprisingly different approach to human enhancement, developing sophisticated mutation serums that granted controlled superhuman abilities to field operatives. Working through the Modus AI system in the White Spring Bunker, Enclave scientists created dozens of injectable enhancement cocktails that could temporarily suppress negative genetic effects while dramatically boosting physical capabilities beyond normal human limitations. Unlike their genocidal cousins on the oil rig, the Appalachian branch focused on practical battlefield applications that turned regular soldiers into post-human weapons capable of traversing the wasteland with inhuman abilities. The marsupial serum enhanced leg muscle development for superhuman jumping and reduced fall damage, while Speed Demon increased metabolism for enhanced movement speed and reload times. Healing Factor accelerated cellular regeneration for rapid wound recovery, and Adrenal Reaction boosted combat performance under stress conditions. These serums required extensive research into human genetics, radiation exposure effects, and controlled mutation techniques that bordered on the miraculous. Each formula targeted specific genetic expressions while suppressing unwanted side effects, creating beneficial mutations that enhanced rather than degraded human capability. The process involved analyzing tissue samples from successful natural mutants, isolating the genetic factors responsible for their abilities, and synthesizing injectable compounds that could replicate these effects in normal humans. The scientific achievement represented a complete reversal of typical Enclave philosophy. Instead of eliminating mutation, they were harnessing and directing it for human improvement. Operatives could stack multiple serum effects for combined enhancements, creating super soldiers with capabilities that seemed supernatural to wasteland observers. Imagine troops who could leap 50 feet vertically, shrug off radiation that would kill normal humans, and regenerate from serious injuries in minutes rather than weeks. However, the serums came with significant risks, including addiction potential, genetic instability, and unpredictable interactions between different enhancement formulas. Long-term use could cause permanent physiological changes, psychological effects, and dependency that made operatives unable to function without regular serum doses. The Enclave considered these acceptable risks for the tactical advantages gained through controlled human enhancement. Modus distributed serum recipes to authorized personnel through secure terminals, requiring specific clearance levels and resource investments that limited widespread deployment. The AI's eventual breakdown led to loss of advanced serum production capabilities, though simplified formulas remained available through automated systems and research notes scattered throughout Appalachian facilities. These experiments proved the Enclave could create as well as destroy when properly motivated, though their definition of human improvement still involved transforming people into something barely recognizable as baseline humanity. The chemical enhancement program leads us directly into their mechanical augmentation madness. Duraframe Eyebot enhancement. Even the Enclave's robotic assets weren't immune to their obsessive technological improvement programs. The Duraframe project represented their attempt to create heavily reinforced reconnaissance robots capable of long-range operations in hostile wasteland environments where human agents couldn't survive or operate effectively. The enhanced Eyebot Duraframe project aimed to upgrade standard Eyebot platforms with advanced armor plating, extended power systems, enhanced sensor packages, and integrated weapons capabilities that would transform simple surveillance drones into versatile combat support units. These mechanical scouts could traverse vast distances, record massive amounts of intelligence data, serve as mobile communication relays, and provide fire support during military operations. EDE, from Fallout New Vegas, represents the pinnacle of this research program, a compact robot packed with more advanced technology than most pre-war military installations. The unit survived a cross-country journey from Adams Air Force Base to the Mojave Wasteland, demonstrating the project's success in creating durable, autonomous systems capable of independent operation for extended periods. EDE's internal systems included encrypted data storage, advanced audio recording capabilities, weapon modification blueprints, and communication equipment that connected to Enclave networks across the continent. The enhanced Eyebots featured experimental armor composites that provided protection equivalent to light power armor while maintaining the mobility and stealth capabilities that made standard models effective reconnaissance platforms. Integrated weapon systems ranged from laser projectors to small missile launchers, giving the robots offensive capabilities that complemented their surveillance functions. Advanced AI programming allowed for complex mission parameters and autonomous decision-making that reduced the need for constant operator control. Unfortunately for the Enclave, the Duraframe project was eventually canceled when military resources got redirected toward Hellfire power armor development following the Brotherhood of Steel's increasing technological capabilities. The few prototype units that survived became valuable intelligence assets for whatever faction managed to capture and reprogram them, with EDE providing crucial technological advantages to the Courier during the Second Battle of Hoover Dam. The project's cancellation demonstrated typical Enclave strategic thinking, abandoning promising research programs in favor of more immediately impressive military applications. However, the surviving prototypes proved that small-scale technological solutions often provided more practical benefits than grand technological gestures. Sometimes the most modest projects deliver the biggest strategic impact when properly deployed. Post-war flora. The Enclave's scientific curiosity extended far beyond human experimentation into comprehensive cataloging and analysis of every mutated organism in post-war America. Research Site J in Appalachia became their primary laboratory for understanding how 2 centuries of radiation exposure had affected plant and animal life across the continent, with implications for agriculture, medicine, and biological weapons development. Teams of Enclave researchers collected specimens ranging from common mutated mole rats to exotic plant species that had developed entirely new biological capabilities through radioactive adaptation. The facility's advanced containment protocols and air filtration systems rivaled pre-war CDC installations, allowing scientists to work safely with highly radioactive organisms while preventing contamination of research areas and personnel. The research program investigated everything from basic mutation patterns to potential military applications for wasteland organisms. Scientists documented behavioral changes in mutated animals, analyzed new plant toxins for weapons development, and studied radiation-resistant biological processes that might benefit human enhancement projects. Some specimens displayed remarkable adaptations, including natural radiation immunity, accelerated healing factors, and enhanced physical capabilities that exceeded normal biological limitations. Strangler vines demonstrated aggressive growth patterns and acidic secretions that could dissolve metal, while mutated crickets developed sonic attacks, similar to scorchbeast abilities on a smaller scale. Cave crickets showed enhanced intelligence and pack-hunting behaviors, suggesting that radiation exposure could enhance cognitive function in certain species. Plant specimens included varieties with pharmaceutical applications, natural antibiotic properties, and nutritional profiles that could support human populations in contaminated environments. The research facility maintained extensive databases documenting mutation patterns, environmental factors affecting adaptation, and potential breeding programs for useful species. Scientists theorized about controlled evolution programs that could direct beneficial mutations while suppressing harmful changes, essentially applying selective breeding principles to post-war organisms. However, the SOTUS AI system that managed Site J eventually suffered critical programming failures and purged the entire research staff in 2084, leaving behind only automated systems and specimen containers. The massacre eliminated decades of accumulated biological research and terminated one of the Enclave's most comprehensive scientific programs. Surviving automated systems continued basic specimen maintenance, but advanced research capabilities were permanently lost. The abandoned facility provides valuable insight into Enclave's scientific methods and their systematic approach to understanding post-war environmental changes. Their research contributed to later mutation serum development and biological weapons programs, proving that even their failures provided useful data for future horror projects. Super Mutant Research Program. The Fallout TV series revealed that Enclave's super mutant research never truly ended despite repeated military defeats and facility destructions. Surviving Enclave elements continue studying captured super mutants decades after the oil rig's destruction, demonstrating their persistent commitment to FEV research and human enhancement through controlled mutation. These ongoing experiments focus on behavioral modification, intelligence enhancement, and the development of more controllable super mutant variants for potential military applications. Scientists treat captured specimens as research subjects rather than sentient beings, conducting invasive procedures and psychological experiments that would violate every conceivable ethical standard. The research aims to perfect FEV transformation processes, while eliminating the unpredictable aggression and independence that made previous super mutant programs problematic. Current projects investigate methods for preserving human intelligence during FEV transformation, developing chemical restraint systems for aggressive specimens, and analyzing regeneration capabilities that might benefit human enhancement programs. Researchers document everything from healing rates to psychological responses, building comprehensive databases that expand on decades of accumulated FEV research from previous Enclave installations. The continuation of super mutant research suggests that core Enclave ideology survived their military defeats, adapting to new circumstances while maintaining fundamental beliefs about genetic superiority and controlled evolution. Small cells of researchers operate in hidden facilities, continuing experiments that larger organizations would consider too dangerous or morally reprehensible to pursue. These modern programs demonstrate more sophisticated understanding of FEV mechanics and mutation control than earlier crude experiments, suggesting technological advancement despite reduced resources and personnel. Scientists appear focused on creating predictable, controllable mutations rather than the random transformations that characterized earlier FEV programs. The research has implications beyond military applications, potentially contributing to medical treatments for radiation exposure, genetic therapy programs, and enhanced human performance in contaminated environments. However, the Enclave's historical track record suggests these benefits would be reserved exclusively for their chosen personnel while denied to broader human populations. The Project, Comprehensive Human Purification Protocol. All these individual experiments, from Vault psychological studies to airborne genocide viruses, served a single overarching purpose, known internally as the Project, the complete purification and recolonization of Earth under absolute Enclave control. This wasn't random scientific curiosity or military research, but a systematic program designed to eliminate every human being who didn't meet their genetic purity standards while preparing the survivors to inherit a cleansed world. The project represented the logical conclusion of pre-war American exceptionalism, combined with post-war survival paranoia, creating an ideology that classified 99% of humanity as mutant abominations requiring systematic extermination. Every Vault behavioral study provided data on social control methods. Every FEV variant brought them closer to perfect genocide weapons, and every power armor advancement made their forces more capable of enforcing their vision through military force. The comprehensive nature of the project spanned multiple generations and incorporated research from dozens of specialized programs. Vault experiments identified optimal social structures and control mechanisms for post-purification society. Biological weapons development created tools for eliminating undesirable populations while preserving infrastructure and resources. Military technology programs ensured Enclave forces could maintain control during and after the purification process. Pre-war origins trace back to the 2060s, when shadow government elements within the deep state began preparing for nuclear war by establishing resource caches, underground facilities, and research programs designed to preserve American civilization under their exclusive control. The Great War provided perfect cover for implementing their master plan, allowing them to retreat to secure installations while the surface world destroyed itself through nuclear exchange. Post-war implementation involved decades of careful preparation, intelligence gathering, and technological development that positioned the Enclave as the only organized force capable of restoring civilization to the devastated continent. Their oil rig headquarters served as the primary command center for coordinating global operations, while smaller installations provided regional support for specific research programs and military operations. The project's ultimate goal extended beyond simple genocide toward complete planetary recolonization, with genetically pure humans occupying positions previously held by diverse populations. Enclave planners envisioned a restored America populated exclusively by their descendants, with advanced technology providing unprecedented quality of life for the chosen few while eliminating competition from inferior genetic stocks. This vision required not just military conquest, but complete psychological and cultural transformation of human civilization, according to Enclave values and scientific principles. Survivors would be conditioned through social engineering programs derived from Vault experiments, enhanced through controlled mutation serums, and organized into hierarchical structures that prevented future challenges to Enclave authority. Even with their leadership eliminated and major installations destroyed, fragments of the project continue wherever Enclave survivors establish new research facilities or recruit personnel who share their ideological commitments. The recent super mutant research programs and ongoing technological development suggest that core project elements remain active despite repeated military defeats. The project's persistence demonstrates how deeply Enclave ideology penetrated American shadow government structures, creating self-perpetuating research programs that survive individual leaders and specific installations. Their legacy of systematic horror proves that humanity's greatest threat has always been organized versions of itself, armed with advanced technology and absolute moral certainty. Vault-Tec. They pumped out 122 vaults, promising to save people from the nuclear apocalypse. Oh, and they made those iconic Pip-Boys, the wrist gadgets that track your stats while you're dodging Deathclaws. Sounds like they were all about helping, but hold up. Vault-Tec was playing a much darker game. Most of their vaults? Not shelters. They were creepy labs for social and psychological experiment. Vault-Tec Corporation, founded in 2031, was the US government's resort for building fallout shelters, like Vault 11, where people had to vote someone to their death every year, or Vault 112, trapping folks in a virtual reality horror show. They were neck-deep with the Enclave, pulling strings to test human nature in the most messed up ways. It's like they saw the end of the world and thought, perfect time to get weird. And yeah, they made banks selling vault spots to desperate folks while the bombs fell. Gotta say, it's peak disaster capitalism. Screw the world, profit first. You see them in every Fallout game in the 2024 TV series, and every time you're left thinking, wow, these guys are the worst. Vault-Tec's vaults were bad enough, But wait till you hear about the next corporation. They took shady to a whole new level. Robco Industries. Robco Industries, founded in 2042 by the one and only Robert House, was the king of tech before the bombs dropped. This guy was like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates rolled into one, but with a Vegas flair. Robco churned out electronics and robotics like nobody's business. Think Pip-Boys. Yep, they helped make those. Protectrons waddling around like armed toasters. Securitrons rolling through New Vegas with missile launchers. And those terminals you're always hacking in Fallout 1, 3, New Vegas, and 4. House built a tech monopoly that basically ran the pre-war world. But here's the kicker. His tech didn't just survive the apocalypse, it shaped it. In New Vegas, House turns himself into a digital CEO god, hooked up to a computer, ruling the strip like a slot machine dictator. Talk about a guy who loves his job a little too much. His Securitrons kept Vegas stable post-war, sure, but also blasted anyone who looked at him funny. I tried out running a Securitron once, and it felt like dodging a tank with a superiority complex. Robco's legacy is a wasteland full of their bots, half of them still trying to protect you by turning you into Swiss cheese. House's empire screams unchecked tech mogul vibes, and you can't help but wonder, was he a genius or just a billionaire with an ego the size of the Mojave? Poseidon Energy. Poseidon Energy, or Poseidon Oil, was a massive conglomerate before the 2050s, gobbling up oil, nuclear, and solar like a kid hoarding candy. These guys were the Exxon or BP of the Fallout world, except they didn't just pollute, they helped spark the resource wars that blew everything to hell. Their big toys? The Poseidon oil rig in Fallout 2, a floating fortress for the Enclave's evil plans, and Helios 1 in New Vegas, a solar plant that sounds eco-friendly but doubles as a laser-shooting death machine. You see their grubby fingerprints in Fallout 2, New Vegas, and 4, and every time, it's a mess. They jacked up energy prices while the world choked, and their tech fueled wars over the last drops of oil. Post-apocalypse, everyone's fighting over their scraps. NCR, Brotherhood of Steel, even the Enclave, all scrapping like it's Black Friday at a power plant. I mean, imagine your utility company not only hiking your bill, but also building a laser to zap you. That's Poseidon's vibe. They turned greed into an art form, and the wasteland's still paying the price. Gotta say, their oil rig base was cool, though like a Bond villain lair, but with worse interior decorating. Poseidon lit the world on fire, but the next corporation? They're cooking up something even crazier. Stick with me, you're gonna love this. West Tech. Westech, born in 2002, was the military-industrial beast that makes Vault-Tec look like a charity. These guys were all about defense and biotech, cooking up stuff for the US military, like it was their personal playground. Their big hits, power armor, those tank-like suits you're stomping around in, laser weapons that melt faces faster than a bad TikTok trend, and oh boy, the Forced Evolutionary Virus, or FEV, which turned people into super mutants? Yeah, if you've ever been chased by a green, hulking monster in Fallout 1, 3, or 76, you can thank West Tech for that nightmare. They were supposed to make super soldiers, but instead, they unleashed a virus that turned folks into 10-foot-tall rage machines. Picture a scientist going, hey, let's make humans better by turning them into the Hulk, but angrier. Brilliant plan, right? Their facilities, like the Glow and Fallout 1, are basically death traps full of radiation and failed experiments. West Tech was like DARPA or Livermore Labs on steroids, tossing ethics out the window for government contracts. They didn't just build weapons, they rewrote humanity's DNA, and the wasteland's still dealing with their mutant legacy. You run into their handiwork in Fallout 1, 3, and 76, and every time, it's a reminder. Corporate science with no morals is a recipe for disaster. I mean, I want to make cool armor, but creating a virus that spawns Deathclaw cousins? That's a hard pass. Gotta admit though, their power armor makes you feel like a walking tank until a super mutant gets you across the room. Nuka-Cola Corporation. Nuka-Cola Corporation, founded in 2044 by John Caleb Bradburton, was the king of beverages in the Fallout world. Think Coca-Cola, but if it was run by a mad scientist with a marketing degree. These guys didn't just sell soda, they built an empire of addiction that had pre-war America chugging Nuka-Cola like it was the only thing keeping them alive. Their star products? The classic Nuka-Cola, that sweet, fizzy drink you find in every rusted vending machine, Nuka-Cola Quantum, which glows blue and probably gives you a third eye, and Nuka World, a theme park from the Fallout 4 DLC that's less Magical Kingdom and more Raider Death Trap. You see their logo plastered everywhere in Fallout 3, 4, Nuka World, and 76. They were locked in a cola war with Sunset Sarsaparilla and Vim, fighting for shelf space like it was a cage match. Nuka-Cola's secret sauce? Addictive chemicals that made you crave it more than a Deathclaw craves lunch. Their marketing was next-level billboards, jingles, loyalty programs that had people trading their life savings for a free bottle. It's like they took consumerism, cranked it to 11, and added a radioactive twist. In Fallout 4's Nuka World, you learn Bradburton himself got preserved as a head in a jar, still scheming post-apocalypse. Talk about brand loyalty. I tried chugging a Quantum once in Fallout 4 and felt like I was drinking a glow stick, and not in a good way. Nuka-Cola's legacy is a wasteland littered with their bottles, a testament to corporate greed and chemical manipulation. They didn't just sell soda, they sold a lifestyle, and you're still finding their ads while dodging raiders. Gotta hand it to them, though their vending machines are tougher than most bunkers. You ever wonder what's in that Quantum glow? Yeah, me neither, but I'm not drinking it. If you are loving this, click on the like and subscribe button. Stick around. General Atomics International. General Atomics International, born sometime before the 2050s, was the Fallout world's answer to Boston Dynamics and GE rolled into one, but with a side of apocalyptic chaos. These guys were all about robotics and AI automation, pumping out machines to make life easier until those machines started turning people into scrap. Their lineup? Mr. Handy, the floating butler bot with a British accent and a buzzsaw arm. Miss Nanny, its sassy counterpart. Sentry bots, basically tanks with attitude. And here's where it gets weird, RoboBrains. Robots, powered by actual human brains. Yeah. They literally ripped out people's minds and stuffed them into metal skulls. You run into these creepy creations in Fallout 3 and 4, and let me tell you, fighting a RoboBrain feels like arguing with a Roomba that's got an identity crisis. General Atomics sold these bots as domestic helpers. Imagine a Mr. Handy cooking your dinner or vacuuming your bunker. But post-apocalypse, those same bots are roaming the wasteland, flaming anything that moves. I mean, who looks at a robot maid and thinks, let's give it a flamethrower? These guys, apparently. Their blind faith in automation screams, we trusted tech too much. And the RoboBrains? That's straight up commodifying human souls for profit. Picture a boardroom pitch. Let's make AI, but with brains we stole from people. And somehow, that got a green light. In Fallout 4, you'll find their factories still churning out bots. And in Fallout 3, their Mr. Handys are either serving tea or trying to saw your head off. It's like General Atomics thought, why stop at helpful when we can make something horrifying? Gotta give them props for the engineering, though those Mr. Handy bots are still hovering centuries later, even if half of them think you're a raider. Have you ever tried talking to a RoboBrain? It's like chatting with your grandpa if he was wired to a death laser. Wild stuff. General Atomics' robot nightmares are insane, but the next corporation, they've got a whole different kind of chaos brewing. Stick with me, this one's a doozy. MedTech Research. MedTech Research, a Boston-based outfit from before the 2050s, was the Fallout world's big pharma poster child, and man, they leaned into it hard. These guys were all about medical R&D and pharmaceuticals, pumping out lifesavers like Stimpaks, which heal your bullet holes in seconds, and RadX, your go-to for not glowing in the dark after a radstorm. You'll see their name in Fallout 3, 4, and 76, usually on a busted terminal in some creepy lab. Sounds like they were heroes, right? Nope. MedTech was the kind of company that'd sell you a cure while slipping something extra in the syringe. They were deep into unethical experiments, like messing with the forced evolutionary virus. Yep, the same FEV that WestTech used to spawn supermutants. Why? Probably because let's make monsters was on their vision board. Their real hustle, though, was crafting chems so addictive you'd pawn your Pip-Boy for another hit. In Fallout 4, you stumble into their Medford facility, where they tested a drug called Prevent on sick folks, promising cures but delivering misery. Classic Big Pharma move. Hook people on your product, then jack up the price while they're begging for more. It's like they looked at the apocalypse and thought, perfect time to corner the market on suffering. Their Stimpaks and RadX are still saving lives in the wasteland, sure, but at what cost? You're basically trading one addiction for another every time you jab a stim. I once spammed Stimpaks in Fallout 4 to survive a Deathclaw fight and felt like I needed a 12-step program afterward. MedTech's legacy is a wasteland full of their chems, with survivors hooked and their labs hiding horrors. They're the ultimate critique of pharma greed selling hope while cooking up nightmares. Gotta admit though, their Stimpaks are clutch. clutch when you're bleeding out. Have you ever popped a Rad X before a glowing sea trek? Feels like cheating death until you realize medtech's probably laughing from the grave. Mass Fusion. Mass Fusion, founded in 2054, was the Fallout world's shiny poster child for fusion power, promising clean energy while hiding a suitcase full of dirty secrets. These guys were all about fusion power and energy storage, cranking out fusion cores, those little batteries that keep your power armor humming in Fallout 4. They also built nuclear containment systems, which sound responsible until you realize they were playing fast and loose with the tech that could end the world. You see their name all over Fallout 4, especially in the main quest, where their Boston headquarters is ground zero for some serious nuclear drama. Mass Fusion loved to wave the green energy flag, but behind the scenes, they were neck-deep in sabotage and espionage, pulling Westinghouse and GE-level stunts to stay on top. Their fusion tech was made to save the planet, but instead, it powered the Institute's synth army and other shady projects. In Fallout 4, you're sent to their reactor to grab a beryllium agitator, a fancy gizmo that could tip the balance of power in the Commonwealth. It's like they built the ultimate MacGuffin, then sat back while everyone fought over it. These guys weren't just about clean energy, they were about dominating the nuclear game, and their tech made the Wasteland's power struggles even messier. I mean, who needs a glowing sea when you've got Mass Fusion handing out fusion cores like candy? I once ran out of cores mid-fight in Fallout 4. Nothing says panic like your power armor turning into a 500-pound paperweight. Their whole "we're saving the world" shtick feels like a PR stunt when you're dodging their radioactive messes. Gotta give them credit, though those fusion cores keep your laser rifle humming like nobody's business. You ever swap one out while raiders are shooting at you? It's like changing a car battery in a war zone. Mass Fusion's legacy is a wasteland, powered by their tech, but at the cost of espionage and nuclear chaos. They're proof that even green corporations can burn the world down. Mass Fusion's energy game is sneaky, but the next corporation? They're cooking up something so bizarre it'll make your head spin. Stay tuned. ArcJet Systems. ArcJet Systems, founded in 2005, was the Fallout world's answer to NASA and Boeing, chasing the stars while the world burned below. These guys were all about aerospace and propulsion, dreaming of space colonies with projects like the XMB booster, a fancy rocket engine, and the Mars Shot project, their big plan to get humans to the Red Planet. You run into their wreckage in Fallout 4, where their abandoned facility in the Commonwealth is a dusty monument to what could have been. ArcJet was all in on the space race, hyping up humanity's next frontier. But here's the rub. They were bleeding cash and leaning hard on government contracts. When budget cuts hit, their dreams of Martian vacations went up in smoke faster than a Nuka-Cola Quantum in a microwave. It's like they bet the farm on a rocket that never left the launch pad. In Fallout 4, you visit their lab to grab some tech for the Brotherhood of Steel, dodging gunners and broken dreams in a facility that feels like a sci-fi movie set after the crew went home. ArcJet's story is a brutal critique of wasted innovation, pouring billions into space while Earth choked on war and pollution. They're the poster child for corporate dependence on government handouts, collapsing when the checks stopped coming. I mean, who spends decades building a Mars rocket when the world's about to nuke itself? ArcJet, that's who. Their XMB booster tech was cool, but it's just rusting in a lab while raiders use it for target practice. Gotta hand it to them, though their facilities still have that "we almost made it to space" vibe, like a museum of bad decisions. Have you ever wandered through ArcJet in Fallout 4? Feels like walking through a billionaire's midlife crisis, all shiny and useless. Their legacy is a wasteland littered with their failed ambitions, a reminder that even the biggest dreamers can crash when they're tethered to government cash. What a waste. Repcon Aerospace. Repcon Aerospace, founded in 2054, was the Fallout world's other space dreamer, but with a side of plasma-fueled chaos. These guys were neck-deep in rocketry and plasma weapons, building spaceflight tech to rival ArcJet and plasma rifles that could melt a Brahmin in seconds. You see their handiwork in Fallout New Vegas, where their old headquarters in the Mojave is a mix of rocket relics and glowing green death. Their big products? Advanced spaceflight systems to chase the stars and plasma rifles that became wasteland staples, like the ones you're dodging from raiders. Repcon was all about that Cold War space race hype, promising to outdo the competition while secretly cooking up weapons for the military. But here's where it gets weird. Their legacy got hijacked by the Bright Brotherhood, a cult of glowing ghouls who think Repcon's rockets are their ticket to a cosmic promised land. Talk about brand loyalty gone off the rails. In New Vegas, you explore their facility in the "Come Fly With Me" quest, helping or screwing over those ghouls while dodging feral ones and plasma traps. Repcon's story screams corporate cult branding, think SpaceX with a dash of Scientology. They rode the space race wave, but their real game was profiteering. cashing in on rockets and guns while the world burned. It's like they saw the apocalypse coming and thought, let's sell plasma rifles and call it innovation. I tried sniping with one of their plasma rifles in New Vegas, felt like wielding a sci-fi death ray, until it jammed and I got mauled by a death claw. Their tech was slick, but their obsession with hype left the Mojave littered with their failures. Gotta give them props, though those plasma rifles hit like a truck. Have you ever tried one in New Vegas? It's like shooting a laser pointer that hates you. Repcon's legacy is a wasteland of broken rockets and a cult worshipping their junk, proof that corporate dreams can turn into apocalyptic nightmares. If you're still with me, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this for more deep dives into every Fallout corporation. Big MT. Big MT, or Big Mountain R&D Center, was a pre-2050s government-funded think tank that made every other Fallout corporation look like they were playing checkers while Big MT played 4D chess. These guys were deep in advanced R, D, and military science, cooking up tech so wild it feels like a sci-fi fever dream. Their greatest hits? Cybernetics that turn you into a half-robot badass, holograms that zap you like ghostly security guards, cazadores, those giant wasp nightmares that haunt your Mojave runs and lobotomites, brainless husks wandering their labs. You dive into their madness in Fallout New Vegas's Old World Blues DLC, where their crater facility is a playground of horrors. Big MT was DARPA on steroids, mixed with Silicon Valley's move fast and break stuff hubris, but with zero ethics. Their think tank scientists, literal brains in jars, parody every mad scientist trope, cackling about progress while turning the wasteland into their petri dish. They made Cazadoras by splicing bugs for fun and lobotomites. That's what happens when you think brain surgery means hack it out and see what sticks. In Old World Blues, you're stuck dealing with their experiments gone rogue, from robo-scorpions to a toaster with a god complex. It's like they saw the apocalypse and thought, perfect lab conditions. I fought a Cazador swarm once in New Vegas, felt like wrestling a hornet's nest with wings and bad intentions. Big MT's whole deal screams unchecked science, bankrolled by military black projects, creating monsters for the sake of innovation. Their tech is impressive. Hologram defenses are straight up cool, but their legacy is a wasteland, crawling with their mistakes. Have you ever run into a Cazador in the Mojave? It's like Big MT decided you needed more reasons to hate bugs. Gotta hand it to them, though their vending machines spitting out guns are peak mad scientist vibes. Big MT's a satire of what happens when genius forgets humanity, leaving a crater of chaos that's equal parts brilliant and terrifying. Chrysler Motors, Corvega subsidiary. Chrysler Motors, with its Corvega subsidiary, roared onto the scene in the 2020s to 2030s, peddling fusion-powered cars like the future was one big highway. These guys were the Fallout world's Ford and GM rolled into one, churning out Corvega sedans, sleek, shiny rides for pre-war commuters, and the Chrysler Highwayman, a beefy beast you can drive in Fallout 2. You see their rusted hulks littering Fallout 2, 3, and 4, usually as explosive traps waiting to ruin your day. Chrysler hyped their fusion tech as the answer to fuel scarcity, but here's the catch. Their cars were built to break. Planned obsolescence was their game design vehicles that fell apart, so you'd buy another. Safety? Optional. Those Corvegas blow up if you sneeze on them, turning the wasteland into a scrapyard of fiery death. In Fallout 2, the Highwayman's a rare gem, but good luck finding parts. It's like Chrysler wanted you stranded. Their marketing screamed freedom on the open road, yet they never fixed the resource crunch, just slapped a shiny logo on it. It's a brutal jab at the auto industry's failures to build flashy cars, ignore the real problems, and watch them explode. I tried driving the Highwayman in Fallout 2, felt like a king until it broke down in a Deathclaw's backyard. Their fusion tech was cool, but when your sedan's a bomb waiting to happen, you're not saving the planet. In Fallout 4, every Corvega factory feels like a tomb for their bad ideas, with raiders camping in the wreckage. Chrysler's legacy is a wasteland clogged with their rust buckets, mocking the dream of endless mobility. Gotta give them props, though the Highwayman's got style, even if it's a gas-guzzling death trap. Have you ever dodged an exploding Corvega in Fallout 3? It's like playing hopscotch in a minefield. Chrysler and Corvega prove that even in a world of fusion power, corporate greed can still run you off the road. Chrysler's car crashes are a mess, but the next corporation? They're cooking up something so wild it'll make your head spin. Stay tuned. Dunwich Borers LLC. Dunwich Borers LLC, founded before the 2070s, was the Fallout world's mining menace, clawing into the earth for uranium and stone like there was no tomorrow, which, spoiler, there wasn't. These guys were all about excavation, ripping open quarries to fuel the pre-war greed machine. You stumble into their horrors in Fallout 3's Dunwich building and Fallout 4's quarry, where their sites are Lovecraftian nightmares waiting to happen. Dunwich chased profits by exploiting workers, sending them deeper into the dirt for that sweet uranium, only to unearth eldritch horrors that make super mutants look cuddly. In Fallout 4, you descend into their quarry, finding flashbacks of rituals and a massive obelisk that screams ancient evil. It's like they hit a vein of cosmic dread instead of ore. Their story is pure critique of extractive capitalism. Dig for cash, screw the workers, and awaken something that dooms humanity. Workers got ground down, literally, while bosses pocketed the profits, all for stone and uranium that powered the bombs. In Fallout 3, the Dunwich building's full of ghouls and ghostly whispers, a haunted office from their shady dealings. I crept through that quarry in Fallout 4 felt like stepping into a horror movie where the monster's capitalism itself. Their tech was basic drills and greed, but they dug up stuff that should have stayed buried. Gotta say, their sites make for epic loot runs if you ignore the tentacles. Have you ever heard those whispers in Dunwich? It's like the Earth's telling you to turn back. Dunwich Borer's legacy is a wasteland, scarred by their holes, a reminder that some things under the ground are best left alone. Garahan Mining Company. Garahan Mining Company, founded before the 2070s in Appalachia, was a coal-digging dynasty that fancied itself a tech innovator. These guys were deep in mining and exosuit design, locked in a bitter rivalry with Hornwright Industrial over who could strip Appalachia's resources faster. Their big win? The Excavator Power Armor, a hulking suit built for miners that you can craft in Fallout 76. Picture a walking tank designed to shovel coal, not fight raiders, but it still packs a punch. You explore their legacy in Fallout 76, where their ash heap facilities are crumbling relics of their ambition. Garahan pushed the excavator as a game changer, promising to outmine Hornwright while workers toiled in brutal conditions. It's a sharp jab at industrial rivalry between two companies racing to gut the earth while their employees paid the price. The armor was slick, boosting mining output, but it couldn't save Garahan from their own greed or Hornwright's automation edge. In Fallout 76, you dig through their terminals, reading about labor disputes and bosses treating workers like spare parts. I suited up in excavator armor once felt like a bulldozer, but those creaky joints screamed, overworked miner. Garahan's story is all about exploitation, dressed up as innovation, with their fancy exosuits doing little for the folks swinging pickaxes. Their legacy is an Appalachia scarred by their mines, a testament to corporate one-upmanship that left workers in the dust. Gotta hand it to them, though that armor makes you feel like you could punch through a mountain. Ever try it in Fallout 76? It's like wearing a coal mine and loving every second. Garahan's a critique of industries that grind people down while chasing glory. Hallucigen, Inc. Hallucigen, Inc., born before the 2070s, was the Fallout world's twisted take on chemical weapons, cooking up riot gas and hallucinogenic crowd control like it was a dystopian science fair. You stumble into their madness in Fallout 4, where their Boston facility is a funhouse of horrors, dripping with green goo and bad vibes. Their star products? Tear gas from hell and hallucinogens that make you see Brahmin tap dancing on your Pip-Boy. They sold these as crowd control, but let's be real, they were weaponizing pharmaceuticals to keep the masses in line for their corporate state buddies. In Fallout 4's Hole-in-the-Wall quest, you grab their Invisawave and Hallucigen gas, which turns raiders into gibbering wrecks or invisible lunatics. It's a scathing satire of tear gas and riot gear companies peddling control while chaos reigns. Hallucigen's lab is a wreck, with terminals bragging about pacifying protesters while their chemicals drive test subjects nuts. Picture a CEO pitching, let's make a gas that sends folks to Nuka World in their heads, and the government is eating it up. I got hit by their gas in Fallout 4, once thought a Deathclaw was my pal for a hot second. Their tech was meant to squash riots, but it just amped up the wasteland's insanity. Hallucigen's legacy is a commonwealth littered with their leaky canisters, a middle finger to corporate state power trips. Gotta give them props, though their gas grenades are great for messing with raiders. Ever lob one in Fallout 4? It's like spiking the punch at a super mutant party. Hallucigen's a brutal reminder that when corporations and governments team up, they're not calming the storm, they're brewing it. Power armor is Fallout's most iconic feature, and also its most inconsistent mess. It's in almost every game cover, yet the specific availability capability and role of each suit is often confused even within the games itself, thanks to, of course, the retcons. But these mechanical changes hide something much more sinister about how Bethesda views Fallout's legacy. So, in this video, I will explain all of the retcons as best I can, starting with the power source that broke everything, Microfusion Pack. In the original Fallout games, your T-51B came with a built-in microfusion pack that supposedly lasted 100 years. No maintenance, no battery swaps, just pure atomic energy keeping you stomping through the wasteland indefinitely. You could wear power armor from the moment you found it until the credits rolled without ever thinking about fuel. Then Fallout 4 rolls around and suddenly you're hunting for fusion cores like their bottle caps. Sprint for 30 seconds? Cores half gone. Use VATS? There goes another chunk. The game treats fusion cores like ammo now, turning what was supposed to be self-sufficient military military hardware into something that needs constant feeding. I think this directly contradicts Fallout 1 and 2, where the whole point was that power armor was self-sustaining. The military wouldn't deploy soldiers to Alaska with armor that needs new batteries every 20 minutes. The entire Battle of Anchorage would have been lost because somebody forgot to pack extra batteries. Bethesda even made perks to slow down fusion core drain, basically admitting they know it's a problem. This wasn't about game balance. There were other ways to balance power armor without rewriting how the technology works. But if you thought that power problem was bad, wait until you see how they handled training requirements. Training requirement. Suddenly everyone knows how to pilot military-grade exoskeletons without any training whatsoever. Fallout 3 and New Vegas made you earn the right to wear power armor. You needed the power armor training perk from specific faction members like the Brotherhood of Steel. The games explain this as necessary because these suits were complex military hardware with servo motors, HUD systems, and neural interfaces that required specialized knowledge to operate. Without training, you literally couldn't equip the armor. This made perfect sense. Real-world fighter jets require hundreds of hours of training. Even forklifts require certification. Not to brag, I'm forklift certified. But power armor, the most advanced infantry system ever created, Fallout 4 says anyone can use it immediately. Your pre-war lawyer protagonist just hops into a suit of T-45 in Concord like they're putting on a jacket. Preston Garvey basically says there's power armor on the roof, and you're instantly a walking tank fighting a Deathclaw. No tutorial, no training mission, nothing. But here's what really breaks immersion. Even raiders with zero military background are strutting around in cobbled together suits. These are people who can barely maintain pipe weapons, but somehow they've mastered nuclear-powered exoskeletons that previously required Brotherhood scribes to teach. The female sole survivor makes even less sense. She was a lawyer. Unless she was doing some really intense litigation, there's no reason she'd know how to operate power armor. But she climbs into that T-45 and immediately knows how to engage targeting systems and coordinate servo-assisted movement. This retcon made power armor more accessible for gameplay, but destroyed the mystique of specialized military equipment. It went from something that separated elite forces from regular soldiers to something any random wastelander can figure out in seconds, though that was nothing compared to how they completely reimagined the physical structure of the armor itself. Modular frame system. Power armor transformed from wearable gear into a vehicle you climb into. In Fallout 1, 2, 3, and New Vegas, power armor was just really good armor. You equipped it like any other outfit from your inventory, and your character model changed to show you wearing it. It took up the same inventory slot as a leather jacket or combat armor. Your Pip-Boy showed it as clothing. You could carry multiple suits in your backpack somehow, which, sure, video game logic, but the point is, it was treated as equipment, not a vehicle. Come Fallout 4, and suddenly power armor has a whole frame system. You literally step into the back of the suit, and it closes around you with this elaborate animation. The armor pieces are now separate components you attach to a skeletal frame. You can mix and match pieces from different models, run around in just the frame if you want, and the whole thing stands upright when you're not using it like some kind of medieval armor display. The size difference alone is staggering. Old power armor made you look bulky, but still human-sized. You could fit through doorways, sit in chairs, use terminals normally. Fallout 4. Power armor makes you a giant. You tower over other humans. You can't even fit through some doorways. The armor has its own animations for everything because you're essentially piloting a mech suit now. The HUD changes completely when you're inside, with a helmet overlay and different UI elements. You even have a headlamp now that wasn't there before. The game treats it like you're in a vehicle, complete with an exit animation, and the ability to leave your armor standing around like you parked a car. NPCs comment on your armor differently. Companions react to you getting in and out of it. Storage is completely different too. You can't just stuff power armor in a cabinet anymore. It needs its own power armor station. You need a physical space to store and display your collection. Some players love this change because it makes power armor feel more substantial, but it completely rewrites what power armor actually is in the Fallout universe. The frame system also introduces this weird universal compatibility that makes no sense. Every piece from every manufacturer fits the same frame perfectly. That's like saying Toyota parts work perfectly on a Ford chassis. These were built by different companies with different specifications, but somehow they all use identical attachment points. This retcon reimagined power armor as more of a vehicle than equipment, fundamentally changing how players interact with this iconic gear. You went from wearing armor to piloting a walking tank. But the T-60 controversy reveals something much darker about Bethesda's approach to lore. T-60 demotes T-51. The T-51 was supposed to be the pinnacle of pre-war power armor tech until Bethesda invented a better better model out of thin air. Every Fallout game before 4 was crystal clear about this. The T-51B was the most advanced power armor deployed before the bombs fell. It's what won the Battle of Anchorage. It's what the Brotherhood of Steel considered their most prized possession. The T-45 was the rushed early model with flaws, and the T-51 was the perfected version. Fallout 1's manual specifically calls the T-51B the pinnacle of power armor technology. Fallout 2 reinforces this. New Vegas has characters talk about T-51B with reverence. The Operation Anchorage DLC is entirely about securing T-51B because it's the best pre-war armor. This was stated fact across multiple games by multiple developers. Then Fallout 4 introduces the T-60 and claims it was deployed domestically after Anchorage, but before the Great War. The Brotherhood of Steel is suddenly decked out in T-60 suits like they've always had them. The game treats T-60 as a straight upgrade from T-51 with better stats across the board. More armor rating, more rad resistance, more carrying capacity, everything. According to Bethesda's new lore, the military was cranking out this superior model for domestic crowd control and quarantine enforcement while T-51 units were still fighting in China. So the troops on the front lines fighting America's greatest enemy were using inferior equipment while riot cops back home got the good stuff? That makes zero military sense. The art book even admits T-60 started as a redesign of T-45 before they decided to make it a separate model. They wanted the Brotherhood to have a signature look in Fallout 4, something more visually imposing than the T-51B. So they created the T-60, gave it better stats, and retroactively inserted it into the timeline right before the bombs fell. This creates massive plot holes. If T-60 existed and was better, why does everyone in previous games talk about T-51B as the best? Why didn't the Enclave use T-60 as their baseline for advanced power armor? Why is T-51B in the Anchorage simulation as the reward and not T-60? Bethesda's answer seems to be pretending those questions don't exist. The community has tried to rationalize this by saying maybe T-60 was so new that people didn't know about it, or it was classified, or production was limited. But the sheer number of T-60 suits in Fallout 4 contradicts all of those theories. The Brotherhood alone has dozens of suits. They're scattered all over the Commonwealth. That's not limited production. This retcon undermined decades of established lore just to give the Brotherhood a signature look in Fallout 4. They literally rewrote history because they wanted cooler-looking armor. If you thought rewriting pre-war history was bad, wait until you see what they did to post-war armor development. X-01 pre-war. The Enclave's advanced power armor somehow existed before the Enclave did. Fallout 2 introduced advanced power armor as the Enclave's post-war innovation, developed on the oil rig decades after the bombs fell. This was their crowning achievement, proof that they were the legitimate continuation of the US government. They had scientists, resources, and facilities to create new technology while everyone else was scavenging. Fallout 3's loading screens literally stated that the Enclave created their armor after the war. It was their technological edge, the reason they could stand against the Brotherhood despite smaller numbers. The advanced power armor Mark II, the Hellfire armor, all of it was supposed to be post-war Enclave engineering. Then Fallout 4 comes along and X-01 armor is just sitting in pre-war military bases. Not prototypes, not blueprints, but functional suits. Nuka World has a pristine suit in a display case that was clearly there before the bombs. The Quantum X-01 with its Nuka-Cola Quantum paint job was a pre-war promotional item. How is that possible if the armor didn't exist yet? Fallout 76 doubles down by having X-01 schematics in pre-war military facilities. You can find technical data for armor that shouldn't exist for another century. The game tries to smooth this over by calling X-01 an experimental prototype that the Enclave later refined, but that completely changes the Enclave's narrative. They went from brilliant post-war innovators to janitors who finished someone else's homework. Their big achievement is now just tweaking existing designs rather than creating something new. It diminishes their entire faction identity. The Enclave's whole thing was that they were advancing while everyone else was regressing. Now they're just really good at finding old blueprints. The loading screens in Fallout 4 try to have it both ways, saying X-01 was developed post-war by remnants of the US military, which technically includes the Enclave. But that's not what previous games said. They were specific that this was Enclave technology created on the oil rig, not pre-war prototypes they found and improved. This also raises questions about the X-02 and Hellfire armor from Fallout 3. If X-01 was pre-war, does that mean all Enclave armor was just iterations on pre-war designs? Did they create anything original? The retcon undermines their entire technological superiority narrative. This retcon strips the Enclave of their technological superiority narrative and creates timeline inconsistencies across multiple games. They're no longer innovators, just really good archaeologists, though that timeline confusion was nothing compared to what the TV show added to the mix. Welding flaw. The TV show added a critical weakness to power armor that never existed in any game. Prime Video's Fallout series shows Maximus's T-60 power armor with a specific vulnerability at the chest plate welding points. During combat scenes, enemies specifically target these weak spots to disable the armor. A raider literally teaches another raider where to aim. They treat this like common knowledge among Wasteland fighters. This has never been a thing in any Fallout game. 27 years of Fallout games, and not once could you target specific weak points on power armor. You can't shoot the joints for extra damage. You can't aim for welding seams. The games have always treated power armor as uniformly protective across all surfaces. Damage is calculated against the total armor value, not individual pieces or weak points. The show treats these welding flaws like they're universal across all T-Series armor. Characters literally teach each other where to aim for these structural weaknesses. The Brotherhood Knight, who's worn this armor for years, somehow never noticed these critical vulnerabilities that any random raider can exploit. The show also adds features like the armor automatically ejecting fusion cores when critically damaged. That's never been a game mechanic. You can blow up someone in power armor with a mini nuke and the fusion core stays put. But in the show, hit the right spot and the core pops out like a DVD from a player. They added a whole thing about needing specific Brotherhood codes to operate stolen armor. In the games, you can loot power armor off a dead Brotherhood soldier and use it immediately. No biometric locks, no authorization codes, nothing. If you can get in it, you can use it. The show also has power armor users getting knocked unconscious inside their suits, which makes no sense given the cushioning and shock absorption these things supposedly have. In the games, you can fall from a skyscraper in power armor and be fine, but the show has people getting concussed from regular combat impacts. While the show needed visual ways to create tension in power armor fights, it created lore inconsistencies with 25 years of game mechanics. Every raider in the Commonwealth should know about these weak points if they're real. But if you thought mixing up armor weaknesses was confusing, the Universal Frame compatibility takes the cake. Universal Frame. Every power armor piece suddenly fits every frame perfectly, regardless of manufacturer or model. The older games treated each power armor model as a complete, integrated system. T-45 was built by West Tech. T-51 was a joint venture between West Tech and other contractors. They had different power requirements, different servo placements, different control systems. You couldn't just swap parts between them. Fallout 4 throws that out the window with its frame system where you can slap T-45 legs, T-51 arms, X-01 torso, and a T-60 helmet all on the same frame. A 200-year-old raider can somehow jerry-rig pieces from completely different military contractors to work together. No compatibility issues, no performance loss, nothing. Think about what this means. The T-45 was rushed into production with documented flaws. The T-51 was a complete redesign to fix those flaws. The T-60 was supposedly an upgrade to the T-45 design philosophy. The X-01 was experimental post-war tech, but somehow they all use the exact same frame attachment points, the same power distribution system, the same neural interface protocols. That's like saying a World War II Sherman tank, a modern Abrams tank, and an experimental hover tank all use the same chassis. It's absurd. Military contractors can't even standardize ammunition types, but somehow they perfectly standardize power armor frames across decades of development and multiple competing companies. The game doesn't even penalize you for mixing sets. In fact, you get the full benefit of each piece, regardless of what it's attached to. T-45 arms work perfectly with X-01 power systems. T-60 helmets interface flawlessly with T-51 chest pieces. A Raider torso made from scrap metal and wonder glue somehow connects to military grade leg actuators. Pre-war military hardware from competing defense contractors with different power requirements and control systems somehow all use identical mounting points. Companies that couldn't agree on what side the fusion core goes in somehow agreed on universal frame compatibility. This gameplay convenience completely ignores the industrial and engineering realities that the series previously emphasized. The military-industrial complex that couldn't standardize laser weapon frequencies somehow standardized every aspect of power armor frames. Military retcons were bad enough, but when civilians start out building the army, you know something's deeply broken. Excavator armor. Mining power armor that shouldn't exist yet is somehow everywhere in Appalachia. Fallout 76 introduces excavator power armor as a mining suit developed in Appalachia by Garahan Mining before the war. But here's the thing. Power armor was cutting-edge military tech that cost billions to develop. The entire US U.S. military budget was being poured into power armor development for the war effort. West Tech had exclusive military contracts. The technology was classified beyond top secret. Congress was having hearings about the cost overruns. But somehow, Garahan Mining just whipped up their own version for commercial use? A coal company created power armor that increases carry capacity beyond military models and includes built-in ore detection systems? The game tries to explain this by saying they had government contracts, but that doesn't explain how civilian miners were using military-grade fusion cores. Those cores were strategic military resources. The Army was fighting in Alaska with power armor that needed those exact cores. You're telling me the military was sharing their limited fusion core supply with coal miners in West Virginia? The excavator armor also somehow has better carry capacity than military models. The T-51B that won the Battle of Anchorage carries less than a mining suit. Special Forces power armor designed for carrying heavy weapons and ammunition has less capacity than something designed for carrying coal. That's like a forklift having better armor than a tank. Even worse, the plans for excavator armor are just sitting in a terminal that any random person can access. The most classified military technology of the pre-war era and the civilian version's blueprints are in an unprotected computer. No military oversight, no security. Just download and build your own power armor. The existence of excavator armor also raises questions about why the military didn't use these innovations. If a mining company could add carry capacity bonuses and ore detection, why didn't the military add those features to combat models? Were coal miners getting better power armor than frontline soldiers? This retcon exists purely to give Fallout 76 a unique power armor variant, but breaks the established military-industrial complex narrative. It turns power armor from classified military hardware to something any company with a government contract could develop. If civilian power armor wasn't weird enough, wait until you hear about how common military armor became. Early power armor. What was once endgame content became a tutorial mission reward. Getting power armor in the original Fallouts was an achievement. You'd play for dozens of hours before finding your first suit. In Fallout 1, you had to infiltrate the Brotherhood of Steel or raid the military base at Mariposa. These were high-level areas with serious combat challenges. Finding power armor meant you'd proven yourself. In Fallout 2, it was even harder. You needed to get through most of the game before accessing power armor. It was in Navarro, an Enclave base, or San Francisco, both late-game areas. You earned that armor through blood, sweat, and quick saves. Fallout 3 at least made you work for it a little. You needed to do Brotherhood quests, or find it in highly dangerous areas. New Vegas kept it rare, locked behind faction reputation or dangerous locations like the Brotherhood bunker or the irradiated hellscape of the Divide. Fallout 4 literally hands you a suit of T-45 and a minigun in the first hour. The Concord mission is basically the game's combat tutorial. You're still learning the controls when Preston points you to the roof for power armor. You haven't even been to Diamond City yet. You might not even have a gun that isn't a pipe pistol. By the time you can build decent settlements, you've probably found 3 or 4 suits just sitting in the world. Behind a novice lock in a train car, standing in a military checkpoint that's been abandoned for 2 centuries, in a shed behind a gas station. Random raiders have suits. Regular raiders who somehow maintained fusion-powered exoskeletons while living on jet and Brahmin meat. The game treats power armor like it's everywhere. There are more suits of power armor in the Commonwealth than there are working cars. Every military checkpoint has one. Every other building in the Glowing Sea has one. You'll have a collection of a dozen suits before you're halfway through the main quest. Survival mode tried to balance this by making fusion cores weigh more and drain faster, but that's just admitting the problem. You shouldn't need a special difficulty mode to make power armor feel valuable again. This accessibility shift fundamentally changed power armor from aspirational endgame gear to just another tool in your arsenal. It went from the ultimate reward to something you probably have too much of, though nothing breaks immersion quite like what happened to power armor's reputation system. Brotherhood tech. The Brotherhood suddenly teaches random wastelanders their most guarded secrets. The Brotherhood of Steel's entire identity revolves around hoarding technology. They believe humanity can't be trusted with pre-war tech. Their codex specifically forbids sharing advanced technology with outsiders. This has been consistent across every Fallout game. They'd rather die than let their tech fall into the wrong hands. Fallout 76 has the Appalachian Brotherhood just handing out power armor training to anyone who asks nicely. Okay, maybe that's a slight exaggeration. Complete the right quests, and they'll teach you everything. How to use it, how to maintain it, how to modify it, and even build new pieces. The organization that let the capital wasteland suffer rather than share water purification technology is suddenly running Power Armor Community College. The game justifies this by saying the Appalachian chapter was more desperate and needed needed allies. But that contradicts the Brotherhood's fundamental ideology. Roger Maxson didn't create the Brotherhood because the military was too stingy with technology. He created it because he believed technology destroyed the world and needed to be controlled. The Appalachian Brotherhood even leaves detailed instructions on how to craft power armor mods in terminals anyone can access, calibrated shocks, emergency protocols, targeting HUDs. All the advanced modifications that should be Brotherhood secrets are just sitting in public terminals. You don't even need to be allied with them to learn these modifications. This is the same organization that in Fallout 1 made you go through multiple trials just to join as an initiate. In New Vegas, they're literally dying in their bunker rather than recruit outsiders. But in 76, they're teaching power armor secrets to vault dwellers who've been outside for 5 minutes. Even more ridiculous, the plans you learn persist after the Appalachian Brotherhood is wiped out, so their technology sharing was so thorough that their knowledge survived their complete destruction. The Brotherhood's greatest failure was being too generous with their knowledge, which is the exact opposite of everything the Brotherhood represents. This retcon turns the xenophobic technology hoarders into generous teachers, completely reversing their core identity for gameplay convenience. But if you think that's immersion breaking, the Creation Club editions take it to another level. Creation Club. Bethesda can't decide if their paid mods are canon or not. The Creation Club added dozens of new power armor variants to Fallout 4, horsepower armor, Hellfire power armor from Fallout 3, military paint jobs that shouldn't exist, Christmas-themed power armor. Some of this content Bethesda says is canon, some isn't. They've never clearly defined which is which. The Hellfire armor being in the Commonwealth makes no sense. It was developed by the Enclave in the Capital Wasteland after the events of Fallout 2. How did it get to Boston? Why is it in pre-war military bases? The Creation Club just drops it in with no explanation. Then there's the CC-00 power armor, which is supposedly a Chinese stealth suit mixed with American power armor. The two countries were literally nuking each other, but somehow they collaborated on power armor development, or America reverse-engineered Chinese stealth technology and integrated it into power armor but never deployed it? The Creation Club treats these additions like they've always existed. NPCs don't react to you wearing impossible armor. The Brotherhood doesn't question why you have Enclave Hellfire armor that shouldn't exist yet. Raiders don't wonder how you got Chinese-American hybrid armor during a war where both countries were mortal enemies. Bethesda's stance is that Creation Club content is canon because they approved it, but they also said players can decide what's canon for their own games, so it's officially canon but also optionally canon. They want to sell you lore-breaking content but not take responsibility for breaking the lore. This creates a situation where discussing power armor lore requires asterisks. Is the Tesla cannon power armor canon? What about the Morgan spacesuit power armor? The game treats them as real, but they make no sense in the established timeline. This confusion extends to the TV show, which cherry-picks from game lore but ignores inconvenient parts. They'll reference specific armor models but change how they work. They'll use game-accurate designs but add vulnerabilities that don't exist. Bethesda's approach to power armor canon has become so inconsistent that fans have given up trying to maintain a coherent timeline. Every new release contradicts the previous one. T-45 power armor. This is where America's power armor dreams began, and it shows. The T-45 was rushed into production in 2067 during the Sino-American War when the US military desperately needed something to turn the tide against Chinese forces. The problem is, they deployed it before working out all the bugs, making it basically a walking tank with anger management issues. The T-45 is bulky, mechanically rigid, and eats fusion cores like there's no tomorrow. It offers decent protection over regular armor, but moves like you're wearing a refrigerator filled with concrete. The suit requires constant refueling and maintenance. Despite its flaws, the T-45 became the foundation for all future power armor development and served as the Brotherhood of Steel's training wheels for new initiates. But if you thought the first model was rough around the edges, the military learned from their mistakes and created something legendary: T-51 power armor. The T-51 is basically the Fallout equivalent of a classic muscle car. Debuted in 2076 after fixing the T-45's problems, this became the US Army's main power armor during the liberation of Anchorage and the final years before the bombs fell. The T-51 is the perfect balance between protection and mobility, thanks to advanced alloys and hydraulic systems that actually work properly. It has much better power regulation, meaning you can actually use it for extended periods without constantly hunting for fusion cores. The classic rounded helmet and visor design became the iconic face of power armor that most people picture when they think Fallout. The Brotherhood of Steel adopted the T-51 as their mainstay for most of their existence, and it's often considered the true face of power armor by lore enthusiasts. But if you thought perfection was hard to improve upon, the pre-war military decided to try anyway. T-60 power armor. The T-60 was introduced just before the Great War as America prepared for a final push that would bring the fighting to home soil. While not as widespread as earlier models, it became heavily used by the National Guard and later adopted as the Brotherhood of Steel's standard issue in their post-war operations. The T-60 offers even greater protection against both ballistic and energy weapons with stronger plating and a more modular design that makes battlefield repairs actually possible. It sits as a middle ground between the T-45's bulk and the T-51's mobility, but with more robust construction designed to survive post-apocalyptic decay. The T-60's sleeker, intimidating helmet design and pronounced chest plate make it look like it means business, especially with the Brotherhood's signature white paint jobs that scream, "We are definitely the good guys." The T-60 proves that sometimes the best improvements are the ones that prepare you for the worst-case scenarios. But the military had one another ace up their sleeve before the world ended. T-65 power armor. The T-65 was created in secret as the ultimate evolution of the T-Series, intended to be the US government's final answer to power armor technology. Only issued to experimental units and special military personnel, the T-65 was so rare that very few suits survived the nuclear apocalypse. This ultra-rare armor offers the best ballistic and energy resistance of all traditional T-Series models with advanced fusion and servo systems that provide performance roughly equal to post-war advanced power armor. The T-65 represents what American engineering could achieve when given unlimited resources and no oversight committee asking annoying questions about budgets. In Fallout 76, it's only available as an endgame reward that costs gold bullion, making it the ultimate prize for players who've grinding through the entire post-apocalyptic experience. The T-65 shows that the military's final power armor was so advanced it took 200 years for Wastelanders to earn the right to wear it. If you thought pre-war technology was impressive, the post-war Enclave decided to completely reinvent what power armor could be. X1 power armor. The X1 represents a radical departure from T-Series design philosophy, featuring advanced composite materials and a distinctive insectoid helmet that looks like it belongs in a science fiction movie about killer robots. Developed by the US government just before the Great War, the X1 became the foundation for the Enclave's advanced power armor program after they emerged from their bunkers. The suit offers superior protection compared to all T-Series models, especially against energy weapons, with those distinctive helmet eyes and enclosed pauldrons providing enhanced battlefield awareness. In the classic Fallout games, this was the terrifying advanced power armor that made the Enclave nearly invincible. The X1's design philosophy prioritized technological superiority over familiarity, creating something that looks more alien than human, but performs like a walking fortress. The X1 proves that sometimes the best way to improve technology is to completely throw out the old rulebook. But the Enclave wasn't content with just one revolutionary design. Advanced Power Armor Mark II. The X2 is what happens when the Enclave takes their already superior technology and decides it's still not good enough for conquering the wasteland. Created after the destruction of their oil rig, the Mark II features lighter alloys, a more streamlined insect-inspired appearance, and improved mobility over its predecessor. The suit enhances defense, especially against radiation and energy damage, while reducing weight for better agility. This became the signature armor of East Coast Enclave troopers during Fallout 3, giving them their distinctive, aggressive, and sinister appearance. The Mark II represents iterative perfection, taking something that was already the best and making it even better through post-war engineering refinements. Advanced Power Armor Mark II shows that even perfection can be improved when you have access to an entire secret government's research budget. If you thought the Enclave had reached their technological peak, they saved their most terrifying creation for last: Hellfire Power Armor. The X3 Hellfire is basically what happens when the Enclave decides that regular power armor isn't intimidating enough and needs more fire resistance for optimal wasteland domination. Originally designed as a prototype, it was finally mass-produced by the East Coast Enclave under President Eden specifically to combat mutants and environmental threats with maximum firepower. The Hellfire offers supreme resistance to fire and environmental hazards, featuring bulkier and more imposing armor, with glowing red optics that make the wearer look like a mechanical demon. This suit was developed specifically for Hellfire troopers who specialize in using flamers to cleanse the wasteland of impurities. The Hellfire represents the Enclave's final evolution of power armor technology, a suit designed not just for protection, but for psychological warfare against anyone foolish enough to oppose them. Hellfire Power Armor proves that the most advanced military technology often looks exactly like what nightmares are made of. But not all post-war power armor was designed for warfare. Excavator Power Armor. The EX-17 excavator proves that sometimes the best military technology comes from completely civilian applications. Created by Garahan Mining Company for mining operations in Appalachia before the Great War, this suit prioritizes utility over combat effectiveness. The excavator dramatically increases carry weight and offers environmental sealing perfect for hazardous work conditions, though it provides only moderate protection compared to military models. It's designed for durability and strength enhancement rather than battlefield supremacy, making it the working-class hero of power armor. In Fallout 76, you have to complete the Minor Miracles quest to get your hands on one, proving that sometimes the most practical equipment requires the most practical work to obtain. Excavator Power Armor shows that the most useful technology isn't always designed to kill people. If you thought mining gear was practical, the Brotherhood of Steel took post-war innovation to crystalline levels. Ultracite Power Armor. This is what happens when the Brotherhood of Steel discovers a rare crystal called ultracite and decides to build power armor around it. Developed by the Appalachian Brotherhood specifically to fight the Scorched Plague, ultracite armor offers excellent energy and radiation resistance thanks to its unique crystalline components. The suit represents post-war innovation at its finest, taking pre-war technology and enhancing it with materials that didn't exist before the nuclear apocalypse. Ultracite armor is unique to Fallout 76 and requires completing special questlines plus significant endgame grinding to obtain. The Brotherhood's use of ultracite shows their ability to adapt pre-war military doctrine to post-war environmental threats. Ultracite power armor proves that sometimes the best innovations come from adapting to problems that didn't exist when the original technology was designed. But the Wasteland had one more surprise for power armor development. Strangler Heart Power Armor. This is basically what happens when nature fights back against military technology and somehow makes it better. The Strangler Heart is a mutated version of ultracite armor created by exposing power armor to toxic flora and fauna in post-apocalyptic Appalachia. The result is a green, organic-looking suit with actual plant growth covering the frame that grants additional radiation damage to anyone foolish enough to get into melee combat with the wearer. This armor represents the Wasteland's ability to corrupt and improve human technology simultaneously, creating something that's both more and less than what it started as. In Fallout 76, it's incredibly costly to obtain and serves as a symbol of late-game achievement for players who've mastered the art of Wasteland survival. Strangler Heart Power Armor shows that sometimes the Wasteland itself becomes part of the technology. But Fallout 76 wasn't done experimenting with regional power armor variants. Union Power Armor. The Union armor represents post-war Pittsburgh's attempt at creating their own power armor solution. Manufactured in the pit by resistance fighters, this suit balances defense and carry weight for survivors who need both protection and practicality. The Union armor shows how different post-war communities adapted power armor technology to their specific needs rather than trying to recreate pre-war military specifications. It's thematically linked to Pittsburgh's industrial heritage and represents the working-class approach to advanced technology, functional, reliable, and built to last rather than impress. Union Power Armor proves that the best technology is often designed by people who actually have to use it every day. And finally, we have the Specialist's Choice. Hellcat Power Armor. Created for Hellcat Company, this armor focuses specifically on ballistic defense, trading off some total resistance for specialized protection against bullets and physical projectiles. The Hellcat represents specialized military thinking. Instead of trying to be good at everything, focus on being exceptional at one thing. This armor is perfect for situations where you know exactly what kind of damage you'll be taking and want maximum protection against specific threats. In Fallout 76, it's obtained through events and training, representing the kind of specialized equipment that requires specific knowledge and experience to acquire. Hellcat Power Armor shows that sometimes specialization beats generalization when you know exactly what you're fighting. From the clunky T-45 to the specialized Hellcat, power armor evolution in Fallout represents humanity's ongoing relationship with technology, sometimes rushed, sometimes perfected, sometimes completely reimagined, and sometimes taken over by nature itself. Each model tells the story of who built it, why they needed it, and what they were fighting against. Whether it's pre-war military might, post-war innovation, or wasteland adaptation, Every suit of power armor represents a different answer to the question, how do you survive in a world that's trying to kill you?